Morning, everybody.
It was, Spitz. Great weekend. Great weekend.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Monday of November. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. I know you had a terrific weekend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm worn out. I already need a nap. I mean, I just got up and I can't wait for my Monday nap. I'm not built for this anymore. I am not in my 40s. I'm 56 years old, proud of it. Can't wait to get to 57, but holy cow, I'm not built for these long weekends anymore. Your leisurely drive my behind. I left my son at the airport for he had a 4-hour wait by the time I was going to drive home. I would switch places with you now to take a nap at the airport.
But you had a great weekend with your son. You took in the cocktail party. It was your second cocktail party, first this century, and it was your son's first, right?
Right, and the last one in Jacksonville for a couple of years because they're going to Atlanta, then Tampa before they return to Jacksonville, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. Anybody who's been understands how great the tailgating is and all of the events leading up to the game, but largely the game can disappoint because only 50% of the crowd's into it, but they were all into it on Saturday, David. They were all into it on Saturday.
It is an amazing party, though. It's difficult to explain. I mean, there is a reason why it is known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, because for 100 miles up and down I-95 on the east coast of Florida into southern Georgia, all right, it's just Mardi Gras. I mean, it really is. It's awesome. The Friday night and Saturday night after the game is remarkable. And oftentimes, Mark, I have found the game has trouble living up to the party.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And we stayed, a good 35 minutes. We stayed damn near in St. Augustine. And the place we stayed at was full of more dogs than gators. But there were plenty of each there. Friday night, we didn't feel like driving all the way up to Jacksonville. We were closer to St. Augustine, went to downtown St. Augustine for dinner and a little time out. And obviously, if they weren't dressed in costume, they were either wearing red and black or blue and orange. We did not dress in costume, for the record. Just letting everybody know right now.
Did your son wear his Georgia stuff?
Of course he did.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah, of course he did. He wore red, wore red out Friday night, and he wore a gray polo with the Georgia logo on it Saturday.
Okay.
And no jerseys. We're not doing that. We're civilized.
Right.
And there were plenty there in jerseys. Don't kid yourself.
I'm curious because I'm guessing the Gator jersey was Tebow, the
Yes.
one that you saw the most. I'm
Yes.
curious. So what was the Georgia jersey that you saw?
A lot of Bowers.
Oh, okay.
A lot of Bowers. There was a lot of everything, but I think probably more Bowers than anything else. It was fun when you catch the abstract. And because my son's a big Georgia fan and was raised in a Georgia family, it was, you see the No Sean Marino. And you see some of these. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember him.
Right. It's easy to go to the, back to the person who's still wearing a Herschel one.
Right.
But, connect the present to, with the past. Give me somebody in between. Like, I didn't know any Stafford jerseys, like you said, no Sean Marino, anybody walking around with a Buck Bellew, you'd be like, oh, now that's impressive. Way to go there. It's like a Gator. If somebody's walking around with a Grossman or a Werfel, you go, oh, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for you. Okay.
I didn't realize, how we all have a spot of hatred. And, mine came up when you and I were at the Alabama-Notre Dame national championship game. And it was, who do I hate more, Michigan or Notre Dame? And I couldn't answer the question. And the game started, and I looked at you, and I went, it's Notre Dame, David. It's Notre Dame, and it's not close. And like, I loved watching Tim Tebow as a collegiate because I don't have this Georgia thing. It's my son's mother who went there, and a bunch of her family, his great uncle played ball there in the 70s. So it's the way that side is all the time. And we're going to park, and there's 5 Tebow jerseys that walk in front of the car, and we turn. He goes, God, I hate him. I go, but he's the genuine article. I think he's a really good guy. And he's like, I hate him. He ruined my entire youth. I'm like, there it is. There's the 6 seconds of truth.
Wow. And you're right. Jake would love it if he met him. He's a great dude.
Right. But that's just how college football is. That's how Saturdays are.
And Mark, Sunday has a new tradition. Okay, now it's, hey, join us as we spin the wheel of who will get fired today. Yes, it's a new tradition started in 2025. We wait until the month of October, and then we just start firing one prominent Power 4 coach at least every Sunday to the rest of the season.
So we largely listen to music in the car all the way up. Game day, on the way back, but Sunday I have Sirius, and I didn't feel like listening to the NFL talk, but I'm gonna throw on the college because I obviously didn't see much on Saturday. We got there very early. By the time you get back, I missed most of it. So when you go to a game, you don't see a lot of football.
Okay, very quickly then, tailgating scene. And what did you do? Did you guys smoke anything? Did you do anything on site? What did you do?
No, I made Jake and I made a Boston Butt on Thursday. So I just took a big vat of that and we warmed up our barbecue. So we had beer and barbecue.
Okay.
We met a bunch of new friends. The tailgate where I spent a decent amount for parking, and we got in we were at we weren't super close, but we were reasonably close. Ended up next to a ton of Florida students and a couple of their girlfriends, and the kids did well. I was proud of the young men for their choice in girlfriends. And they offered us food. The people across, I was a little unprepared. It's been a while since I tailgated. I'm like, damn, I forgot. We need like a garbage bag for the empties. And the Florida fans across go, you need a garbage bag? Here you go. Everybody was just spectacular around the area we tailgated in because we pulled in a little later than them. I think we got there at like 11:30, and they were all set up, and it's assigned parking. So they had to move tents and beer dye tables in order for us to park. And we got in, and it was like, all right. And they came right up to us, right as we got there. And I had a red shirt on, and Jake had a dog shirt on, and the kid came, didn't waste 10 seconds and walks up and tries to get me to look down, and you got a stain on your shirt. I mean, the Florida kid was all over me from the word go. And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't born. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night, son. And no, they were a lot of fun. Everybody around was terrific. The kids made dogs. They offered us hot dogs. I was fine with the barbecue. And no, it was the tailgating scene is unbelievable at a pro stadium. You know, is it other places I've been? No, it's its own unique flair. There's nothing quite like the cocktail party.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it is. And you and your son witnessed, I'm telling you, we could go back over the last 30 years. You witnessed one of the 5 best games that's been played in the last 30 years.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A little controversy to it.
Sure. Oh, well, if it's a football game, one, we're going to have some officiating controversy. Oh, my goodness, Mark. And I'm sure, as you were starting to say, okay, you turned on the Sirius College channel Sunday morning, and once they got to who was going to get fired before that, they were probably talking about, did you see some of the calls and non-calls on Saturday?
Yeah, they were, but they were on the coaches. And I don't remember who the hosts were. You're better. I don't care. But I'm just listening to enjoying. They're like, well, Hugh Freeze is getting fired, but it won't happen till at least noon because no one ever gets fired when we're on the air. It's right when we finish that it happens. And I got a kick out of that because you and I have experienced that quite a few times over the years, going till 10 on Mondays, and it happens, 11:30 noon.
Did you hear how the story broke? Okay. It wasn't one of the big national guys. It was somebody small in Auburn who knew that Hugh had a regular Sunday 1:30 tea time at this particular club. And he found out like 2-3 hours before anybody else found out the news. He found out the golf game had been canceled. And he immediately came to the conclusion of, well, something's going on. He getting fired.
Got that right. That's when it pays to know somebody in the pro shop. I've got to be honest with you. That's when you get that call and say, just want to let you know that 1:30 tea time has been canceled.
Yep. Well, we said, we joked on Friday, so who's getting fired? And we said there were 2 coaches who, if they lost, would be fired on Sunday. One was Norvell, if he lost at home to Wake, all right, that the AD would have to go, well, we're going to have to move that evaluation timetable up. And the other was Hugh Freeze. And we never thought that they would lose at home to Kentucky. Never mind lose 10-3.
10-3.
Yikes. Do you know there are 3 teams in college football who have yet to give up more than 24 points in a game this year? Ohio State, Indiana, and Auburn.
But I'd rather focus our attention a little closer to Auburn, Alabama, and keep it in the state. And I know we have Huntsville, and trust me, we'll talk a little Hugh Freeze for you today. But most of our affiliates are in the state of Florida, where your Miami Hurricanes proceeded to do Miami Hurricane things again.
Remember, for a long time, it was Clemsoning. Okay, are we going to have to come up with Marioing? Well, when are they going to start Marioing?
November. Apparently, it's November. Because that's when the you-know-what hits the fan for the Miami Hurricanes. Just the first time they leave the state of Florida, and they lay an egg. They lay an egg. And they'd already laid one. Boy, oh boy, did I hear a lot of those Georgia people saying they're happy with the quarterback they've got, and they're happy with the one that they let go. Because that interception in overtime was just plain putrid. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
It's the event everyone will be talking about when college basketball's biggest names take the court in Fort Myers. The Michigan State Spartans and the North Carolina Tar Heels headline the 2025 Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off. Witness the excitement live and in person this Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena. The stage is set. Will you be there? Lock in your spot now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go. See you Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Adam, I saw a post from a guy that I actually like that I'm friends with on social. And he's like, enough of this lane to Florida. He goes, Miami and Florida State need him more than anybody else. If you're 7-2 in that league, you're good. Or 6-2 or whatever they are. You just are.
Who's this?
Denver.
Yeah, I think they're 7-2.
Yeah, if you're 7-2, you're good.
The Patriots have won 6 in a row.
Is there some luck involved? Hell yeah. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. On this Overreaction Monday, although is it? We've already touched upon the cocktail party, Auburn's firing of Hugh Freeze, the Canes doing Canes-like things again. It's not just that they lost to SMU. This was a game that we all had circled at the beginning of the year as probably was going to be the game that decides whether or not they go to the ACC championship game and or make the playoff. It's just how they lost the game. In control of the game at various points. Needing a stop late, unable to get it. And
but it's how they didn't get the stop. It was what, 4th and 9?
Right.
When they call a timeout, right as the play is about to start, and their defensive end decides to not hear the multiple whistles that were blowing and crunch the quarterback. I mean, just stupidity.
Yep. And the Canes doing, it's funny how for 20 years, Miami seemingly made all the winning plays. 83 through 02. Okay, the Canes were college football excellence. Outside of a very brief period in the late 90s when they got hit with a bunch of NCAA penalties and they needed about 3 years to completely regroup. But man, you measured yourself for 20 years basically against the Canes. And for 20 plus years since, you just waited for them to implode. No matter how talented they were, no matter how terrific some of the September and October, and even Mark Richt had a big early November win 8 years ago. And you just waited for it. And they did it again. It used to be Clemsoning. Now it's Marioing. Now it's Canesing.
Yeah, it's Cristobaling. Because I'm sorry, 4 and 9 in November in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
4 and 9 in crunch time.
Right. Tough to accomplish something when that's what you're doing in the money month. But Mark, if we could, and I don't know if it's possible, because it ended about 30 hours ago. Mark, that was one of the 5 best World Series that's been played in the last 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know we move on very quickly, and football is king. And Lady Luck is queen, but this is the Joker's Wild. How old a reference is that, huh?
That's our first 40-plus-year-old reference on the show for the week. And ladies and gentlemen, it won't be our last.
In fact, sometimes we average 1 an hour.
Oh, easily.
But that was amazing. That was amazing. And like a lot of football games, Mark, the team that you felt played better more often, was better longer, didn't win. I mean, when you think about that series was seemingly in Toronto's hands from the moment Freeman won game 3 in the 18th. That series seemingly was Toronto's to win, and they were winning it. And then the Dodgers won the World Series with some epic moments that will be talked about in baseball for generations. But this ranks up there, Mark. You know, the famous 75 Red Sox series, the Twins, all right, Braves series of 91, the Yankees Diamondback series of 01. And 3 of those games were obscene on the epic scale. All right. The 2011 series that no one talks about between the Cardinals and the Rangers was amazing. This was one of those World Series.
And one of those game 7s. I mean, not just a great series throughout. I was looking at different articles, David, where they ranked, and I know people don't always like rankings, but the only game 7 that they had rated ahead of this was the 1960 game 7 that Mazeroski hit the home run in to win. There was a grand slam in the 8th to give the Pirates a lead. The Yankees would then tie it in the 9th for Mazeroski to hit the home run in the bottom of the 9th to walk off the World Series. That's literally the people who do baseball have that game 7 ahead of this one. And I'm not even sure they're right. The bang play at the plate.
Oh my goodness.
Does he, and he talked about it after. They said he wanted a short lead because they didn't want him to get doubled off on a line drive. If he's 3 steps further with his leadoff, he may be safe.
If he's a foot further on his leadoff, he's safe. Because they would have overturned that on appeal. Because live, none of us saw that the catcher's foot had actually left the plate for a split second, reaching for the throw. And then the very next play is the fly ball in which the center fielder, who was put into the game 3 minutes earlier as a defensive replacement, how about that managerial move by Dave Roberts? And the center fielder overruns the left fielder who, well, he was running around aimlessly and was not going to catch that ball. That did not look like Willie Mays in the Polo Grounds. He was running with his back to the ball trying to find it, and he was, well, about a yard off until the center fielder ran him over and caught it.
Both teams digging to their bullpens, using starters in roles they don't normally pitch in.
How about Yamamoto? I mean, this is Randy Johnson. This is Oral Hershiser back in the 88 LCS. I mean,
and damn it, I might have gone 1-4 in my picks, but I told everyone before game 6, if you're going to take a flyer on an MVP, do it on Yamamoto and get your 14-1.
Yep, you did, because you said if the Dodgers win it, he'll have to have won game 6 to force a game 7, and he's probably the guy to then win MVP.
Then he comes in.
8 outs. The day after he throws 100 pitches and throws 6 innings and gets the win. Goes 3-0 in the World Series. Awesome stuff. And by the way, much like Tom Kelly had nobody warming in the Twins bullpen back in 91, Okay. Dave Roberts didn't have, he was just starting in the 11th in Yamamoto's third inning of work after having pitched 6 innings the day before. He was just starting to get some guys up. Okay. He basically Kershaw in case there were 2 outs and he wanted to get lefty against lefty. Remarkable stuff.
Really was. It really was. Feel badly for the Blue Jays.
Oh, I knew it. I knew you were going to go there.
It's habit, David, when a Toronto team loses a series in epic form to blurt out those words. And I just misspoke. I apologize.
The city of Toronto has not won a championship in a Game 7 since 1964.
Ouch. And they love the Jays up there. I'm telling you.
Throughout the state, did you hear Connor McDavid talking in Edmonton? How they had the game on the screen the entire time the Oilers were playing a hockey game, and during stoppages in play, they would turn up the announcer's volume. McDavid said it was the strangest game he ever played in. He found himself skating around watching the baseball game.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, in Price Design, he was, a hero might be too strong a word, but he made a great play on that game-ending double play with the pick. How about Dave Roberts? Puts Rojas back in the lineup for Game 6. When he hadn't had a hit in a month. Yeah. Mark, it's also, I think it was technically the mayor of Toronto. Did you hear what they? I think it was a woman. What she did? They only had the trains running till 1 a.m. and the game ended at midnight-ish.
Right.
After I think it ended at 12:20, and there were thousands of people who couldn't get home because the subway system was essentially turned off. Plus, also, she was on one of the pre-games. I don't know if it was Game 6 or Game 7, and she was talking about the parade.
Well, I mean, I got
Can't
to
do
text you. No.
Can't do it. Never forget the Rangers in '94, up 3-1. And in the New York Post, the day of Game 5, they had the story about the parade route. And I went, oh, you got to be kidding me. Sure enough, lost Game 5, lost Game 6. Well, in '94 it was DC, but the Toronto mayor went on TV on the pregame show on TSN and talked about the parade route. When we have the parade and we go by and it's like, no. What was it? 9 of the 11 innings from Dodgers were from starting pitchers in that game. Both clubhouses, EB? No.
Yeah, they do.
I thought they wheel it.
But they have the lockers all done. So someone had to run in and rip everything down in the ninth. I guarantee it. Because it's happened before. They get those clubhouses ready with the champagne. And I'm telling you, going into the ninth, they were getting the Toronto one ready.
Well, yes, they were. But I thought that they have the champagne and
oh yeah, they wheel that in and out on carts. But then someone's taking all the Visqueen down on the
Yes.
lockers and all that stuff.
Yep.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour on this Overreaction Monday. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It was a big weekend. Friday was Halloween and then Halloween night. Friday and Saturday, Game 6 and 7 of the World Series. This past weekend, a very compelling weekend of college and pro football with some major surprises. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Well, the showcase game of the day in the NFL was Bills Chiefs, and well, Buffalo handled them. Again, it's the regular season. Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Chiefs beat the Bills in January. Buffalo 28-21. Bills keeping pace with the Patriots. Chiefs now fall to 5-4, and yes, if the season ended today, the Chiefs would be out of the playoffs, tied with Jacksonville for the final playoff spot, so to speak, 5-3, 5-4, but Jacksonville having beaten Kansas City. Josh Allen with 3 touchdowns. First time Mahomes completed less than 50% of his passes in an NFL game. It's the first time since he was a freshman at Texas Tech that he completed less than 50%. He was 15 of 34. Jacksonville went to Vegas. Cam Little hit a 68-yard field goal to end the first half. That's a new NFL record. But he made a 48-yard field goal at the gun to force overtime. Jacksonville scored a touchdown. The Raiders scored a touchdown. The Raiders went for 2 in the win, and the Jags stopped them.
By the way, nice blunder on the telecast. When Jacksonville had the ball, they forgot the rules of overtime and literally had a graphic that said Jacksonville wins with touchdown.
Ouch. Jags won in overtime 30-29. They improved to 5-3 on the season. Denver's won 6 in a row. They kicked a field goal at the gun. Bo Nix did it again. Not good for 3 quarters. Made the plays in the fourth quarter. Many
With
of them
his legs. I mean, the big play was the run. He had a huge run that put him in field goal range, and they got it done from there.
18-15. Broncos are 7-2. Texans, C.J. Stroud gets hurt. They lose. They're 3-5. Can you put a fork in Houston? Pittsburgh forced 6 turnovers, scored 24 unanswered points, and beat the Colts 27-20. Same score, Chargers over the Titans. By the way, Tennessee, how bad are they offensively? They got an interception return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown and lost. And didn't score an offensive touchdown. Chargers are 6-3. Wildest game of the day in Cincinnati. Bears blow a 41-27 lead with under 3 minutes to go. Give up a touchdown, surrender the onside kick, give up another touchdown. In between, the Bengals with a 2-point conversion. Cincy's got a 1-point lead with less than 40 seconds to go. And the Bears complete a 58-yard touchdown pass. Caleb Williams to Loveland. 47-42. Bears improved to 5-3. You can put a fork in the Bengals at 3-6. The trade deadline's tomorrow afternoon. How about the Vikings playing for their season in Detroit? And they beat the Lions 27-24. J.J. McCarthy with 3 touchdowns. Vikings 4-4. Lions fall to 5-3. Detroit 10 penalties, surrendering 5 first downs in the process. The roughing the passer call was obscene. How bad it is. All right, we'll get to that later on. Niners ran the ball right down the Giants' throat. Christian McCaffrey, 106 yards. Mac Jones, very efficient once again. Tell me he's not earning a job for next year somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Believe he's 5-1 as a starter for San Francisco. Niners 34-24 over the Giants. San Fran 6-3. Patriots win their 6th straight. Atlanta scored with less than 5 minutes to go and missed the game-tying extra point. 24-23 Patriots. Can you put a fork in the Falcons at 3-5? How about the Carolina Panthers? Ran the ball right down Green Bay's throat. Bryce Young barely threw for 100 yards, but Ryan Fitzgerald with a 49-yard field goal at the gun. Carolina goes to Lambeau and beats the Packers 16-13. Jordan Love,
monster day in that division. Obviously, with Minnesota beating Detroit, the Packers losing, the Bears winning. A little new jambalaya in the NFC North.
No doubt. The whole division's within a game and a half of each other. Rams, Matthew Stafford. By the way, nobody's playing quarterback better than Matthew Stafford. Dak's great. Baker's been great except for one game. Stafford, 4 touchdown passes yesterday. Hit the game before that, he threw 5. Rams 34-10 over the Saints. They're 6-2.
And I think he has 2 picks on the season.
Yeah.
Stafford. 21 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. It's actually remarkable they've lost 2 games. That's how well he's playing. Seattle 38-14 over the Commanders. They led 31-7 at the half. Sam Darnold with a perfect first half, literally perfect, and he threw 4 touchdowns. Big story, however, Jaden Daniels, dislocated left elbow, likely out for the season, running an RPO with 5 minutes to go, down 31 points. Why is he in the game? I can understand him being in the game. Why are they calling a play where he could get hit? That's a different story. Daniel's likely out the rest of the year. Tonight in Dallas, where I am, Arizona starting Jacoby Brissett. Although Kyler Murray is available, Cowboys trying to get back to 500 with a win. Dallas 3.5-point favorites. Some of the injuries from yesterday: Niners lose defensive end Mikael Williams, their first-round pick, to a torn ACL. Green Bay loses tight end Tucker Kraft, feared torn ACL. Chargers lose offensive tackle Joe Alt, again, another ankle injury, same ankle, carted off the field. They think he may need surgery. And the Bills lose defensive end Michael Hocht with a torn Achilles. Expect a lot of defensive linemen to be acquired, if possible, in the next 32 hours with the NFL trade deadline. They are falling like trees being cut down in a forest. College football. Auburn, latest school to fire their head coach on a Sunday. Hugh Freeze goes 6-16 in nearly 3 years in the SEC, including a 10-3 home loss to Kentucky. He had to go. Reports are Maryland is going to move on from Mike Locksley at the end of this year. They got embarrassed on homecoming by Indiana Saturday. Nebraska lost their quarterback, Dylan Raiola, to a broken right fibula. He's out for the rest of the year. We're down to 4 unbeatens because Navy and Georgia Tech lost on Saturday. Those unbeatens are A&M, Ohio State, Indiana, and BYU. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, your top 3. Then Bama, Georgia, Oregon. BYU is 8th. Notre Dame with 2 losses is 10th. Georgia Tech fell all the way to 16th. Miami fell all the way to 18th. Pay attention, Mark. This is for you. NASCAR in Phoenix yesterday.
I'm in. Let's go.
Denny Hamlin was the story, the best driver to never win a Cup championship. He dominated the race. He led over 250 laps. He had the lead with 3 laps to go. Caution. They have to come into the pits. His crew decided to put on 4 tires. Kyle Larson put on 2 tires. Came out ahead of Hamlin. Hamlin couldn't chase him down in those 3 laps. Kyle Larson won his 2nd Cup title. Denny Hamlin, 60 career wins. His dad is dying. He's in his 40s. He's suing NASCAR. He finishes 2nd for the Cup championship. He's been in the Final Four 6 different times, yet to win. Hockey, Lightning won their 5th straight. They beat the Mammoth 4-2. Your Wings, Mark, winning a shootout over San Jose. They're 9-4. Calgary, 2 goals from former Panther Jonathan Huberdeau in a 2-1 win over the Flyers. Anaheim 4-1 over the Devils. And the Islanders trailed with 75 seconds left and scored twice to beat Columbus 3-2. Big night in the NBA yesterday. Heat lost to the Lakers 130-120. Luka back in action, had a triple-double, 29 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. Lakers have won 3 in a row. Heat are 3-3 on the season. Knicks hand the Bulls their first loss of the year, 128-116. New Orleans is 0-6. OKC is 7-0. Thunder beat the Pelicans by 31. Toronto, the only win they got over the weekend was in hoop.
Ouch.
Yeah. 117-104 over Memphis. By the way, Memphis suspended Ja Morant for the game for conduct detrimental to the team. Apparently, he didn't play well Friday night. His coach was telling him he didn't play well, and Morant told him, coach, what he thinks of him. So the coach suspended him for a game. He's averaging only 27 minutes of playing time a game. This could be a divorce in progress, I should say. But who would trade for him? He's talented, okay, but do you think he's a winner?
And he's expensive.
Right.
I mean, that's the other
Besides
part. It's hard to trade for someone who's getting a contract at the level of Jaws.
Sixers are 5-1. They beat Brooklyn by 24. Nets are 0-6. So New Orleans and Brooklyn both still winless in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell with 37. Cleveland beat Atlanta 117-109. By the way, Trae Young, no contract extension, now hurt. Sprained knee. Going to miss all of November, and we'll see when he returns in December. By the way, Phoenix handed the Spurs their first loss, 130-118. San Antonio's 5-1. Charlotte over Utah, 126-103. College basketball starts today. Ready or not, here it comes. The highlight game, 7 o'clock tonight in Vegas on TNT. The defending national champions from Gainesville, Florida, will take on Arizona in Vegas. The second game is pretty good, too. It's Villanova BYU. But TNT for your college hoop. There's basketball beginning at noon today. I mean, you can find it. Cable channels, streaming services. There's a bunch of games, men and women. For example, Mark, Auburn's hosting Bethune. Bama's hosting North Dakota. Miami's hosting Jacksonville. FAU's hosting Boston College. How'd they pull that off? UCF's hosting Hofstra. South Florida hosting FAMU. FGCU, by the way, for those of you in Southwest Florida, they're hosting an NAIA school. The Mighty Banyans from New College, Florida, out of Sarasota, Bradenton. The Mighty Banyans.
Mighty Banyans.
An NAIA school. There's 370 Division I basketball schools. You couldn't find one? Women are in action too, by the way. Reports are the Dolphins may be moving on from Tua at the end of the year, that he's basically auditioning to keep his job these final 7 games of the season. And also that Stephen Ross has given the interim GM permission to sell off the whole team between now and 4 o'clock tomorrow. And
but
the
Dolphins asking prices are high based on what the reports are coming out of Miami. That they're asking for everything. You want Waddle, you're giving up a 1 and something. So don't expect as much as you would want, Dolphin, because they're not going to give the team away.
They're insisting, if you want one of their pass rushers, of a day 2 draft pick. And Mark, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a team out there that'll give up at least a third for a Chubb or a Jalen Phillips or what have you, because as I mentioned earlier with the injuries, the defensive linemen are falling. So, but you're right. The Dolphins have said we're for sale. Well,
but this is not a rummage sale.
Actually,
is a high-end consignment shop that's overcharging for their goods.
And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories and the Mighty Banyans here on Miller and Moulton.
Starting 5 brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Some of your texts on the other side. You've been busy over the weekend, haven't you?
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments. The Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I've seen it now. I guess when you allow a touchdown with 30 seconds, when you score with 1:30 left and then allow a touchdown a minute later, do you deserve to win? But yeah, I did see a guy out of bounds. I've not seen that part. I saw the interference that got picked up when you can see the guy holding his jersey and the jersey stretched about a foot. That was interesting. I got to if Franklin's going to Virginia Tech, which is what the rumors are, I don't know if Sparty fires their guy because I don't know who they get. Is it worth spending $35 million to fire him when they care about their basketball team more? I mean, they really want to go, to get to another Sweet 16. That's what matters.
Oh, look at that level of snark.
Hey, 2000, David. 2000.
Now, I will say you've been to like 6 Final Fours since.
They've been to one final game.
No, I know.
And I don't think, is it 6?
I might be off by 1. I think it's at least 5.
No, you're right. It's 6.
It is DC, remarkably.
By the way, they got to one final and were competitive in one semifinal. Blown out.
The year that surprised me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Overreaction Monday, the first one of November. Hope you had a great Halloween weekend. Did you take advantage of the extra hour of sleep overnight Saturday into Sunday? I know for some of us, we needed it with the World Series going past midnight after a full day of football. We needed that extra hour of rest, whether it was church in the morning or just to get ready for another day of football. Mark, for you, it was to get ready to travel back from Jacksonville to Southwest Florida after taking in the cocktail party. Hope that extra hour came in handy.
It did, because for my son more than me, I get up early. I'm up, I'm like, I got a couple hours before we got to check out. But for him, it was needed. Those young kids, they're able to sleep in, David. You remember those days.
I do.
Man, I miss them. Got to meet your grandson because your daughter was kind enough to give me this electric drum set many years ago for my daughter, who ended up not liking it. She wanted him back for your granddaughter, who was with your wife. And I didn't see her, but I met the grandson early yesterday and your son-in-law for the first time. So that was nice to see them and catch up with your daughter for the first time in many years.
I heard that he greeted you at the door wearing a Miller and Moulton shirt.
Yes, he did. And he lost all credibility with me at that very moment. I was nice, but I, silently went, oh boy, what's she doing with this guy?
First off, is it possible that it was just the shirt he just grabbed out of the drawer in the morning? Because, let's face it, as guys, that's a real possibility.
No, he said, because we were texting back, your daughter and I were texting back and forth when I was going to come over. And he was, well, when I saw you coming, I had to put the shirt on. Yeah, you did.
Did you tell him that Miller and Moulton don't have such shirts and don't wear them?
Ever. And plus it has our pictures on them. That's this. And they're old pictures. I mean, it's like some of the billboards you see around with realtors. Like, when did you really take that picture?
I love the pictures of the female realtors. Okay, the most. I'm like, don't get me wrong, but you don't look like that anymore. Okay. I mean, that picture on that shirt. I mean, how much gray hair did I have? Now it's like, how much dark hair do I have? Like 6.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So the texters, David, there were so many texts greeting me this morning because I did not look at the text line all weekend. And 2 gentlemen in particular, and I feel badly because the system that we have, when you send these novels, it breaks them up in characters and puts them in whatever order it feels like. So it's sometimes impossible for me to figure out what the order of their text are, and I just get bored. But I got to tell you, people not happy about officiating on Saturday. I mean, that is really where all of these texts begin and end. But I do want to get to a couple in particular. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN. 1-866-9-PELICAN. Residential, commercial, statewide, Pelican Roofing of Florida. This texter asks a question. Is Mario Cristobal Miami's version of James Franklin? I would argue he's worse because up until this year, James Franklin only lost the big game. Miami loses games that they're double-digit favorites in, and they do it every damn year.
And more than one.
Exactly.
Usually. So, yeah, I think right now, if you're a Canes fan, believe it or not, you would take what James Franklin did at Penn State. Because the other thing that James did is he got him into the Big Ten title game twice and won it once.
I will say a lot of people saying it was a catch in the game. I was at the game. It looked like it hit the ground. The replays we saw, I thought it bounced. But look at, and I was in the middle of the Florida section, and nobody was complaining among the Florida fans that it, I mean, they weren't going nuts. People watching on TV thought it was a catch. You thought it was a catch, David.
I did. I thought it was a catch for the reason that if the ball had hit the ground, I think the ball would have bounced straight up. This ball went clearly diagonal. Okay. And to me, that's what would happen if you're diving and the ball would hit your forearm, that it then would dramatically change direction, that a bounce would be pretty straight. And that's, to me, why, like, I could see why it was called incomplete, because you see the ball move that much and you think it had to hit the ground, but the direction that the ball shifted, to me, said that the ball hit his forearm underneath it.
And I don't think footballs bounce the same way twice. A bounce is a bounce to me. But again, everybody seems to think it was a catch. Why don't we get to the fact that he underthrew his receiver by 30 yards?
Well,
it should have been 6.
Yes. I mean, since you were sitting in a Gator section, I'm very curious what it was they were saying about their quarterback, who has been at best average this year. And Mark, to me, that play in particular, to make the throw necessary, he would have had to have taken a hit. And to me, he decided, I ain't stopping planting and throwing because I'm going to get drilled. I'm just going to keep on running. I'll throw it as far as I can, hope it's good enough. Dude, there's 4 minutes to go in the Florida-Georgia game. Okay? You got to take that hit. That was my thought when I watched the play. And obviously, I didn't see it live. I was working. But when I saw it after the fact, I'm like, why didn't you just, you escaped the rush. Okay, you plant, throw. You're going to get hit. Yeah, you're going to get hit hard. I don't know what to tell you, dude. You get that ball near him, it's a touchdown.
And Georgia has no pass rush. I will say that. They can't get to a quarterback. They can't. They don't sack quarterbacks. They don't put pressure on quarterbacks. This is not the same Georgia team of years past. This is not a good defense.
But boy, do they know how to win close games late.
Right now they do. That's for sure.
They're
an excellent plays. Second half team. There's no doubt there, David.
They're a great fourth quarter team. They make winning plays late. The only time they didn't get a stop against Alabama to get the ball back. Otherwise, man, they've been in a lot of close games. They've made a lot of winning plays. Boy, if you're the Gators, though, you've got third and 2 on the 20. You get that first down. You're going to take that clock down pretty far. You get that first down. You're in the red zone. Who knows? You might have the put away touchdown. They get 2 cracks to get 2 yards. Can't get it. Did anybody around you have anybody around you want to kick the field goal, go up 6?
No. I didn't hear anybody say that, but we had, I don't think I had great football fans around me, if you know what I mean. I had great fans around me. But they were not breaking down each play, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
They were more rah-rah than anything else.
Gotcha.
But I thought going into the fourth quarter, Florida was going to win the game. Like I did.
Lost 5 in a row. 5 in a row in the cocktail party. Yep.
Didn't love the 2 calls there at 3rd and 2 and 4th and 1. I thought when we said we're going to open it up, it might have been the point there to do something. But
believe it or not, I would have kicked the field goal. Okay, and yes, even if Georgia then comes back and drives it down, but then obviously I can win with a field goal. So, but I am far more conservative than the current guys making the decisions as to whether to go for it, kick, punt, what have you. But for what it's worth, Mark, I was following the game because ours was a blowout. So I'm following it live. And I'm thinking, I kick a field goal here.
You know what's really bad, David? I'm a bad host. I'm a bad friend because what game did you I don't even know what games you're at on Saturdays anymore. I used to know exactly what game it was and I cared. And now I don't even give a damn what game you're at anymore. I know what Monday game you're at because there's only one. What third level Big Ten game did you have this week?
I was going to say, Mark, not only are you unaware of what games that we're at, according to the ratings, so are most. Okay. I was at Indiana at Maryland.
Oh, okay.
I will say this Indiana team would kick the tar out of last year's Indiana team. This Indiana team is legit, and I mean legit.
Many arguing that they should win the first college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow. Many people arguing it should be Indiana that's number 1, not Ohio State. The win at Oregon is better than the home win against Texas for the Buckeyes.
And to me, it doesn't matter because unless something happens, they're going to play for the Big Ten title, and you could see them after that. But, Mark, I'm with you. By resume, you would actually give Indiana the nod. Who they've played, who they've beaten, margin of victory, and what have you. You would probably spit out Indiana number 1. But, I mean, the Buckeyes are giving up, 8 points a game, and Indiana's giving up 11.
Right.
Which everybody wants to talk about the quarterbacks who might be the 2 leaders in the Heisman race right now and this, that, and the other thing. But just so you know, the Ohio State defense, they gave up 14 this week, and people are freaking out. And Indiana's given up 11 points a game.
So we'll get it in the Big Ten championship because nothing's standing in the way of that.
But they're playing such dominant football that if those 2 teams win out, the loser of the Big Ten title game is still going to get a bye.
Absolutely. And deserve one.
Yeah.
And a lot of this because of what's been going on. I mean, Miami has certainly helped their cause. The ACC had a bad weekend.
Boy, did they ever.
How many bids did the ACC cost themselves over the weekend? Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I agree with that, fam. There are a lot of Gator people. I have one that emails me personally, and a couple other on the text line that are really asking when's Florida going to put the backup in. And I don't think it'll happen, but man. Spitz, there's no doubt. Does the next coach want? We asked that question a while ago. Does the next coach want DJ Lagway? Although Raiola may be staying in Nebraska just because he got hurt.
That's possible.
Fam, I was gone all weekend, so I didn't need it. I don't know what I'm going to do this week. Fortunately, because my community just did a new deal for Hotwire to go with them, I have cable right now through their cable service, so I'll at least be able to watch the games on one of my televisions. Yeah, I don't know why you'd talk trash to Jefferson, D.C. That doesn't seem to be wise. By the way, Brock Bowers is really good.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Brock Bowers says to Tyler Warren, "You're good. You're good."
Hey, Fam and Adam, I'm curious. What are you doing for? How do you get the Fox networks, the FS1s, even regular Fox? Because I would make that move now. I mean, I got HBO, so I get all the TNT stuff. I'm fine with that. What are you doing with Fox? Because that's obviously a big home of college football.
Did you see ESPN and Fox over the weekend announce their joint thing for $30 a month? You can get them both.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I've already got that Hulu Disney package, it's really only $8 more to buck up to ESPN.
Spitz, we did. We did. We've said, and they didn't cover him last year. He had double-digit catches against him last year. There are a lot of teams that struggle to cover the tight end. Tight ends are a problem. Gary Danielson said it years ago. He said a really good tight end is the biggest, he believes, is the biggest problem for a defense.
And yes, it does, Jake. I have, like I said, I have free cable at the moment, so I'll be able to watch Monday Night Football, figure out what I'm doing this week, hopeful that YouTube and ESPN will resolve their differences by Friday.
Yeah, if it ain't getting resolved today, by the way, it could go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Gary Ferman will join us next hour. He covers the Miami Hurricanes for a living. Oh, has this season taken a turn? You mentioned it before the break, Mark. And by the way, we're Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on this Overreaction Monday. But we had Bud Elliott on the middle of last week. He comes on hump days every week during the college football season on our show. And he said, I can make the case for 3 or 4 bids for the ACC.
4. He had a case for 4, and it was a legitimate case.
Now, obviously, this team needed the Georgia Tech and Virginia winning out to the ACC title game, Miami winning out and missing the ACC title game, but they're 11-1, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Georgia Tech needs to beat Georgia now. Okay, if they're not going to win the ACC title, they need to beat Georgia now.
They might be a one big lead now. Seriously, they might have gone from the opportunity to get 3 or 4 teams to a one bid league. Because at the end of the day, even if the Canes win out, and Canes fans are going to go nuts, but if the Canes win out and Notre Dame wins out, I hate to break it to you, Notre Dame's getting the spot. Don't care that you beat them. It's not going to matter. You care to argue that statement, David? Again,
yes.
You want to take the side of Miami over Notre Dame getting in?
No,
Go ahead, sir.
I don't want to take the side, but 10-2 versus 10-2, the one team beat the other head to head. Now, also, let's compare schedules. I think Miami has a better case than you think. Here's the problem, though, Mark. Besides the whole name brand, Miami's got a terrific brand.
Yes, they do.
They don't have Notre Dame's brand, okay, but they have a terrific brand. But here's the problem, Mark. Now, what we haven't had, and I believe we're going to get tomorrow, aren't we getting our first college football playoff committee rankings tomorrow?
We sure are.
But right now in the poll, the AP poll, that's the one we've been quoting for 2 months. Notre Dame is 10 and Miami is 18.
Bingo.
That's a lot of ground to make up. Now, the committee can look at it differently, and we all know that at the very end, the committee can change their mind in votes and what have you. They can. I mean, we saw it with Florida State and Alabama. At the very end of the day, if the committee goes, well, the final spots between this team and this team beat that team head to head, same record, similar schedules. How do we give so-and-so the nod? And they'll justify it any way they want. You know, they could say we had to honor head-to-head, Miami goes. They'll say Notre Dame's won 10 in a row. We believe if they played now, Notre Dame would beat them. They were playing a freshman quarterback in his first ever start. Okay, they lost by 3 on the road, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Notre Dame. And what's helping Notre Dame, by the way? USC is helping Notre Dame.
But
Don't
they've got to
kid
keep
yourself.
helping. USC still has a game at Oregon. And, you know, someone asked before the break in the chat room there, David, of just 2 Big Ten teams. No, right now there's 3 for sure. Oregon's in. Oregon has games with Iowa on the road and home for USC.
And at Washington, final game of the year. Okay, if you're going to talk about the depth of the SEC, and listen, the SEC is clearly better and deeper than the Big Ten this year. It is, especially deeper. Okay, but Washington's like a Missouri. All right, and Washington's going to host that game, and that's a big rivalry game.
And I think Oregon, believe it or not, can lose to Iowa, and their 10-2 is still going to get them in. I believe that. Because I think we're going to see some more SEC losses before the end of the year. And I don't think the Big Ten ends up with 2 and the SEC with 6 or whatever the case may be. I just don't think that will happen. Iowa, if they run the table, which includes beating Oregon at home
and at USC,
Iowa's got a real shot to make the tourney. They do.
Oh,
and they've got to be perfect the rest of the way.
Oh, Mark, I'd put large amounts of money right now if Iowa wins out, they're in. People will be, oh, what do you mean? Well, they'd be 10-2 with 1 conference loss. All right, they will have not lost a game since September. And look at who they've beaten down the stretch. I mean, think about it. They beat Oregon at home, and then the very next week go to USC and beat the Trojans? Seriously?
You know, I don't think Michigan's much more than an above-average football team. But if they win the rest of their games, and we all know who they finish with, they're in at 10-2. They are.
Well, this would be interesting for this reason. I believe if Michigan wins out, they're in the Big Ten title game. I mean, they would go ahead of Ohio State.
Right.
Because they'd be tied in the conference and they will have won the head-to-head. Here's the funny thing, though, Mark. With the Big Ten title game, if Michigan would then win out but lose to Indiana and be 10-3, would they get in?
And after putting SMU in last year in a similar situation, losing the title game, and
But
then SMU getting whooped, I'm not sure. It's an interesting point.
But remember, I believe SMU was 11-1.
They were, but
right,
my point is, they put them in. People thought
Yes.
they might not deserve to get in. They played a pretty easy schedule last year,
Correct.
and then they got whooped. So the committee doesn't want to look bad by putting someone in that lost a conference championship game and then have them go get embarrassed the next week. I think it would be how they lose to Indiana. I really do.
I mean, because think about who's Michigan's 2 losses are: at Oklahoma and at USC. Well, a lot of people lose those games. I mean, Oklahoma going to Tennessee and winning, that'd help Michigan. Now, Michigan's got to take care of their own thing, but I'm just saying that helped Michigan. You know, and Mark, the ACC, I do think if Georgia Tech wins out,
Win or lose ACC championship game they're in?
yes, because to me they'd be the SMU of last year. If they beat Georgia after Thanksgiving and they go to Charlotte 11-1, I think they're in.
I agree with you because the Georgia win would be better than any win SMU had a year ago.
Also, right now, Georgia's top 5.
Right.
And the thought is Georgia's going to be top 5 when they play Georgia Tech. And the game's being played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, first off, I don't even know if that game's going to be neutral. I have a feeling that game's going to be at least 60-40 dogs. Mark, you lived in Atlanta, and you joked that, Atlanta, it's pretty split between Georgia and Georgia Tech. And by pretty split, I mean like 85-15.
Exactly. So we shall see, but the ACC had a terrible Saturday.
Yes, no doubt about it.
Georgia Tech losing at NC State, Miami losing at SMU. Ooh, tough week.
And the elimination games in the SEC have begun. Oklahoma, Tennessee was an elimination game. There's only about 7 more of them lined up. Does Texas have to run the table? I mean, because here's another thing. They got to play Georgia.
Yes, they do. In Athens.
Mark, how about this? If Georgia wins out only to lose to Georgia Tech, are they in?
At 10-2?
And take a look at their 10-2. Like, is it enough? Did they beat the right SEC teams?
I think they'd be in. But boy, it would be interesting. You might have a Notre Dame at a 10-2. You might have a Miami at a 10-2. The committee is going to have their work cut out for them this year. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Todd and I are local. We're involved in our community. We live here, we work here, we're in our showroom every day. We love working with our guests. We love giving back to our community.
We are so excited about our new store. Same location, same team, new environment. Every day is like a grand reopening. Absolutely stunning when you walk through our doors now. Come experience the newness of the Diamond District. See what we've done.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
It's the event everyone will be talking about when college basketball's biggest names take the court in Fort Myers. The Michigan State Spartans and the North Carolina Tar Heels headline the 2025 Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off. Witness the excitement live and in person this Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena. The stage is set. Will you be there? Lock in your spot now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go. See you Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, the Eagles just beat everybody to the punch.
Well, apparently they were talking to the Dolphins as soon as the Thursday game ended.
Yeah, I hope the Lions, for their sake, are making a move here in the next 24 hours.
So how's everybody liking this daylight savings? It's still dark out, isn't it?
You know, no, it should be light out now. That's the other way. It's the other way. That should be the question today. That should be our poll question.
Should we eliminate daylight savings?
Yes.
Didn't we go to this however many years ago for the farmers?
Which is a complete joke, because yes, that's the reason they pushed on it. They get up no matter what time it is. Florida passed the law where they were going to not use it and basically weren't allowed to.
Correct. Today's National Sandwich Day, Spitz? Really? Oh, and they did daylight savings for the railroad workers too, DC? Okay. I am not complaining. Okay, and I'm not. Please, I hope everybody understands. I said it on the air a week or so ago. We were talking about traveling. All right, I have so many miles. I'm getting upgraded a lot. And for Monday Night Football, I stay in 5-star hotels. I am not in any way complaining. But I'm just sharing this story. This had never happened to me before. And I've been traveling a lot for 20 years. So I had a 7:30 flight scheduled yesterday out of DC. I wake up 4-ish, and because I got to pick somebody up and take them to the airport. And their flight's a half hour before mine. And I get out of the shower, and I take a look at my phone, and it said my flight's been pushed back 4 hours to 11:30. I'm like, huh, okay. No big deal. I only have to go to Dallas. It's direct. Yeah. Oh well, guess I'll go back to the hotel. Heck, I may go back and sleep. So I take, my friend to the airport. I come back. I'm having breakfast. My flight, which is now 11:30, has been moved back up to 8:45. I go, I'll be damned. All right, I'll finish breakfast, grab my stuff, go to the airport. Airport's a half hour away. I finish breakfast. I go upstairs. I'm packing up. I'm walking to the car. I put it in the car. I look at my phone. My flight's back on at 7:40. It's 6:20. Son of a... Get to the airport. They're boarding, or they're supposed to be. And I'm checking my big bag. And the guy says, don't worry about it. We just pushed the flight back an hour. Couldn't get a crew in time. I was thankful for that. But I was just wondering, anybody ever have anything like that before? In like a 3-hour period of time, 7:30 became 11:30, 8:45, 7:40, 8:45. It's like, damn. Everything was fine. Man, I'm not complaining. But, whew, I got my exercise in yesterday. Got my heart rate up, I'll tell you that.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Mark, you got that breaking news sounder? You got a sound effect you're ready to debut? You want to pound the table, pound your chest?
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if this works.
The NFL trade deadline is working. The deadline is 32 hours and 22 minutes from now, but the Philadelphia Eagles are not waiting around. The Eagles have acquired Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 3rd-round pick in next year's draft. It's on. Let's go. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Green Bay, maybe the Rams, maybe Seattle. Take notice, Philadelphia doing Philadelphia things. Like the third trade in a week for them, for crying out loud.
It
Just
is.
adding depth and more depth. What did you talk about in the starting five? By the way, brought to you by Lee County. Business, sports, and tourism.
That's BST, not to be confused with BLT or BTO.
Or BFD. And how much of a BFD do you think these Philadelphia trades are? I think they're pretty damn significant, David.
And the Eagles, looking at their roster and realizing, yeah, our defensive tackles are good. Our production from our defensive ends, not so good. Not so good. Remember who's the defensive coordinator in Philly, who coached Jalen Phillips in Miami. All right. You think that he had a little, you think maybe Howie went downstairs and said, hey, Vic, okay, they want this. I want to give up that. Should I give up this? Can you do something with him? And he said, oh, yeah, I can do something with him. Okay, then I'll pay the piper. Dolphins, Mark, we can believe reporting, not believe reporting. What were the NFL insiders, who are all getting the same information, by the way, from the same people? What were the insiders saying yesterday? Dolphins willing to do a fire sale, but got to give them a first-round pick for Waddle and something else. And you want Phillips or Chubb. You want an impact edge pass rusher. It's got to be a day 2 draft pick. What did the Eagles just give up, Mark?
Day 2 draft pick, 3rd round pick for Phillips. Love the move for the Eagles. As somewhat of a closet Lions fan, to me, you better counter. Your defense is not good enough. It's just not.
Well, and see, here's the interesting thing, Mark, and we've got plenty of time, but, there aren't a lot of teams that just have one need. So, the Bills won yesterday, and, the biggest Bills fan in my life said, hey, I'm glad we won. We need this, this, and this. We better be active by Tuesday. And I pointed out what we've pointed out for 2 weeks now. Yes, you need it. You have no money. So you're going to have to get very creative here. But I mean, Mark,
and most teams can. I'm
right.
Actually, at this point of the year, the money's not as much, but, the Bills had a significant injury yesterday. They need a receiver, obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
so if you're the Lions, there's no doubt everybody needs somebody. Everybody. But Mark, prioritize it quickly for the Lions. Is it an edge on the other side of Hutchinson? Is it help in the secondary? Because let me tell you something, that secondary is not good. That secondary holds on every play. They have terrific games sometimes, and then there are times in which the officials decide they're going to call the penalties. And if they do, that secondary can't cover.
My answer is yes, David. They need those two things. Does the edge rusher help out enough that the secondary can get by and some guys are coming back from injury? We'll see. Right. I would go with the edge rusher to help Hutch. That's how I would address it. Because, David, we all know in that league, if you can get to a quarterback with 4, you become a completely different team defensively.
Okay, Jason Light, GM of the Bucks. Prioritize them. 1, 2, 3. What do you need? Edge.
They need an edge.
Okay. Do you need a wide receiver? Are you just going to keep your fingers crossed and hope that Evans or Godwin come back this year? Or you know what? Should you go out and get, because there's a lot of wide receivers available, by the way. Maybe not number 1 wide receivers like Waddle, but there's helpful wide receivers that can be had.
I'd go edge wide receiver for Tampa Bay.
They also need an inside linebacker. Yeah. They also need an inside linebacker. They have no depth at that position.
I don't think those are difficult to get either, by the way.
I don't either. You could get the guy from Cincinnati who's been demoted and wants out. That's the other thing, Mark, that I think happened. Like the NFL a few years ago pushed this trade deadline back to tomorrow, look at the difference 2 weeks has made. Cincinnati's had back-to-back crushing losses. 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, they weren't sellers. They were 3-4. All right, now they're 3-6. Sell. Who do you want? Sell.
Would you really want to pay for someone on that defense? That defense is one of the worst things I've seen in the National Football League in a long time.
I think as a GM, you have to decide, is that talent or is that scheme?
Well, they changed scheme from this year to last year,
right?
And it's still the same hot mess.
No, I know.
I mean, Joe Flacco threw it for like 456 yards yesterday, wherever the hell it was.
Well, I think Flacco and the Bengals have set a record the last 2 weeks. The amount of yards he's thrown for, the amount of points he's produced, and no team since like the merger had ever lost 2 games in a row. Haven't they scored 40 in back-to-back games and lost them both?
Incredible.
But, I mean, let's go down the list. Tennessee obviously got to be sellers. They had a lot of good defensive players who were out injured yesterday, okay? How bad are those injuries? Or are those guys going, what the hell I want to race back for to a 1-7 team?
Here's the question I have for you, because you've got to go through Philly to get to the Super Bowl. I don't want any Eagles fans out there continuing to think that David and I don't have the utmost respect for this entire organization, because we do. And I think you've said that for a month.
I love them more. Because they're not messing around.
Right.
They know they can win a Super Bowl. What, a late 3rd round pick? The Eagles are thinking that pick's going to be somewhere between 86 and 96. The Eagles, give me a break. I need an edge rusher. If he can make one impactful play in every January game, it's worth the pick.
You're damn right it is. So Tampa Bay, time to step up. Detroit, time to step up. Green Bay, you need a receiver. You just lost your tight end. I mean,
and they need who they traded to Dallas. They need a run plugger of a defensive tackle. Carolina had no passing game, and Green Bay knew they had no passing game. And Carolina walked up the line of scrimmage and shoved it up there, you-know-what, yesterday.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure what Seattle needs, because that looks like a pretty damn good football team right now.
It really does.
I mean, Seattle looks like a damn good football team. You know who else looks like a damn good football team? The Rams.
Yeah.
And I don't know what those two teams need. If they don't make moves, I'm not going to complain about it, because I'm trying to figure out what it is that the Rams and Seahawks need, because they both look pretty good. But the Eagles just pushed their chips to the middle in the last week. They've made 3 deals in a week.
All to
2
help
corners. Yeah, 2 corners and now an edge rusher. That's what you do when you're going for Super Bowls, because don't give me this, we have a window. Your window is this year, every year.
By the way, after last night, I don't know who you'd want, but don't you think the Commanders are sellers?
And they're old. You've talked about this. You know, their quarterback's done probably the rest of the year. David Chow, the doctor, he goes on Pat's show all the time, said it could maybe not be season ending because it's not his throwing arm, but quite possibly he's done for the year. They've got a bunch of old bodies on that team that are not part of their future. They could trade right now.
You want a Bobby Wagner? Could somebody out there use a Bobby Wagner? He ain't what he used to be. He ain't what he was last year. I think he's definitely lost a step from one year to the next. But could he help you out? Detroit, Tampa? Could Bobby Wagner help? How about San Francisco? They lost Fred Warner. That's the team, by the way. My goodness. This is 2 years in a row now. This franchise is just getting crushed with injuries. This year, it's all on the defensive side of the ball. But think about it. I mean, the sellers. Hey, come on. Everybody's got good players, and everybody has guys. What does Pat Kerwin talk about all the time? How many guys in this league are playing on year contracts? Never mind, if you take a look, they may have a 3-year contract, but when's the guaranteed money end? And if it ends after this year, he's basically a rental. So, we can go through it. Now you got Giants and Commanders in the East. You got nobody in the North. Okay. Mark, Atlanta probably wouldn't sell, but is Atlanta making the playoffs?
I don't think they'll sell, but I don't think that they are. Arizona,
Okay.
what do they have that you want? Because they have no shot to make the playoffs.
Well, and if they lose tonight, they definitely have no shot. But you and I both would put Arizona on that list. You got to put the Saints on that list. That's 4. So that's 4 in the NFC. Obviously, we know Jets and Dolphins can trade. That's 6. All right.
Bengals and Browns can trade.
That's 8.
Titans can trade. Houston can trade.
That's interesting in Houston.
I know.
I agree with you. I think they can trade. By the way, they have top 3 defense in the league. I mean, if you're looking for defensive help, that's a franchise to call.
And the Raiders can obviously trade.
I think we just named 11 teams.
Yes, we did.
I think we just named 11 sellers. There's
Get
more
busy,
sellers
GMs.
than buyers.
Get busy, GMs.
Come on, there's good players out there. There are. Yeah, you might have to give up a round, higher than you want to.
But to your point of what Philadelphia thinks, if you're Detroit, if you're Tampa Bay, if you're the Rams, if you're the Seahawks, and there's that whole, where do you think that 3rd round pick is?
Ask a Rams fan if they gave up too much for Von Miller, who was a rental. He was an 8-game rental. Hell, Rams fans don't even know what they gave up for Von Miller. By the way, they gave up a 2nd and a 4th. Yeah, they had a parade.
Miller and Moulton. 21,000's the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. If you've not texted the number before, the keyword is Miller. Text Miller to 21,000, then you're in. Love to hear what you think your team should do. And Dolph fan, this is probably as excited as you've been all year because you're selling, and that's all you wanted. You know it's time for a rebuild. You're done with the GM, soon to be done with the coach, soon to be done with the quarterback.
Okay, along that line, we got 2 minutes. Mark, and you said it a month ago, but now these are the numbers. So will you stick to what you said a month ago? If the Dolphins get rid of Tua before June 1st of next year, the cap hit in 2026 is $99.2 million. Would you do it?
That's before June 1, right?
Before June 1.
What is it after June 1?
It's the same hit, but it's divvied up 67 and change next year, 31.8 the following year.
That would be my option. The other thing that I was reading is if they keep him on the roster for next year and trade him at some point during the year as a bridge quarterback for somebody else, the hit goes down significantly. But is there anybody that would even take him? That's my worry.
Right. If they can trade him, if they trade him before June 1st of next year, the dead cap hit is 45 and change.
That would be what I would prefer to do.
But does he have any value right now?
Well, you may have to trade him and that 3rd rounder you got from Philadelphia to make it attractive enough for someone to take him.
Like, I don't think anybody's picking him up as a starter, but there are contenders out there who need backup quarterbacks. Like, Mark, I could argue Detroit still doesn't have a backup. Okay, Minnesota thinks they're a contender. Now with Wentz hurt, does Minnesota have a backup quarterback worth a damn?
No, they don't. But their starter played pretty good yesterday.
He gets hit a lot, though, I will say.
He does.
It's kind of like him and Jackson Dart. Every time I see him, they're both getting hit. It's like, man, could you protect these guys?
You can't do that for very long in that league. Bad things will happen. We're seeing it in Washington where Daniels gruesome injury yesterday to his non-throwing arm. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power Four teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. Two convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Jaguars had a funny post yesterday after they won. They took a picture of the sphere and they had it with Jaguars colors, Jags win on it. And remember that John Facenda, the autumn win is a Raider. Okay. They changed win to win. The autumn win is a Jaguar. Solid.
That's good.
See what they did there?
I must say, as you well know, David, I'm not a big fan of bridges. That bridge into downtown Jacksonville is kind of tall.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, there's like 3 chances to get you on a bridge in Jacksonville.
Oh, well, it's funny. After I dropped off the stuff at your daughter's, she's like, "You're right over the bridge." I'm like, "Oh, another one." That one, the 295 one there wasn't nearly as bad. The one going to downtown, that's a.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
A million times. That's why when I saw the one at 295, that's not the Skyway Bridge. The Skyway Bridge is way more nutty than that. I hate the Skyway Bridge.
I love it. I love bridges.
That's great.
Well, I grew up in a part of the country, with the GW Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, Pulaski Skyway, okay, the Whitestone Bridge. I mean, we had bridges.
That's why I let my wife drive in Pittsburgh when we're there.
It's funny. I'm trying to think how many times I've driven over the bridges in Pittsburgh, but I've walked over them a ton going to and from the games.
Yep, I have too. Oh, EB, I not only remember it, we were going from Tampa to Marco when the year that happened, and driving because the one side was still open and you could see, how cars kept driving off in the fog. Oh, yeah.
So how many people either sent out or read a post last night, something having to do with the government shutdown and the commanders? Yeah, they were everywhere last night.
That one would scare me, Johnny Mac. I don't think I could drive over that. Like, I'm not joking. That bridge just frightens me.
Love it.
I couldn't do the Mackinac Island Bridge anymore. Like, I've driven over the Golden Gate Bridge. I've driven over the Skyway. I mean, I can do it. I just stare. The problem is if I'm the passenger, I'm fine. It's driving that I struggle with. Severe anxiety.
I will say the Skyway, my wife closes her eyes for the whole thing. Obviously not when she's driving, but
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
halfway home on this Overreaction Monday, although it's the final hour of the show in Live Oak Lake City, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I'm in Big D. Dallas getting ready for the Cowboys on Monday Night Football tonight. It is the first day and night of the college basketball season. Hell, Mark, I think the first game starts like during our show. I mean, they've got this tournament going on at South Dakota. They have like 8 games today. I think the first game's going on like next hour.
No, it starts now. Queen's
wow.
University in Winthrop with an 8 a.m. tip.
Now
and then Bradley and the Bonnies at 11 a.m.
So there you go. First day of college basketball season. Hey, the NFL trade deadline is in 32 hours, and the Eagles have gotten it started. They're giving up a third-round pick. Now, they have 2 third-rounders next year. They have the Jets. That's a good pick to have.
That's a good pick.
And their own. They're giving the Dolphins their own third-rounder for Jalen Phillips, who has 6.5 sacks this year in 8 games and is reunited with his former defensive coordinator from a year and a half ago. He's a rental. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Remember, Eagles lost a couple of edge rushers from last year's Super Bowl champion team, and they're trying to put a pass rush from the end position back on the field. Remember, they signed the longtime Packer there, Z. He played 1 game and retired on him. So they're trying to get an edge pass rush, and they traded for 2 corners last week. Eagles are busy. What's your team going to do?
And how ticked off are you that your team hasn't done something yet? Dolphin, how happy are you? I mean, is this as happy as you've been since 12:59 on opening weekend?
Well, let me ask you this. How far do you want your teams to go? Whether you're a buyer or a seller. Miller and Moulton believe to a large degree that the draft picks are overvalued. In large part because the guys doing the picking screw up a lot. Take a look at the percentages. No offense, Eagles and Ravens draft picks more valuable because they get them right a lot. But, Giants and Dolphins draft picks, they don't get them right a lot. So I'm curious, like if you're the Dolphins, Mark, how much of a fire? The word is that the owner, Ross, has said to the interim GM, listen, you can trade anybody, but we're not getting rid of guys to save money and get a 6th-round pick. You got to get real value. You trading Waddle? Somebody offers you a 1 next year and a 3 in 27. You trading Waddle?
Done.
Okay.
Done.
Is Achane available or no?
Probably not. That might be, skill guys. That's the guy I want to keep. I think he's good. Good.
Somebody wants Minka.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Come on, David. This is now, if you're getting a new quarterback, if you've made the decision that at some point, whether it's after June 1, whether it's the middle of next year, whether you can trade him, that you're moving on from Tua, then what do you want Minka around for?
Well, I'm with you. I mean, I would say I want a day 2 pick and see if I can get somebody to bite. We just mentioned it. We got a lot of contenders. Okay. There are a lot of parts available, but how many impact guys? Like, Mark, if you're the Bills need a safety. They do. They may need a defensive lineman also because they've lost 2 here in the last couple of weeks. But the Bills are weak at safety, and they're trying to win a damn Super Bowl. Okay? If you're the Bills, 3rd-round pick next year's draft for Minka.
I don't see how they can't. I mean, to your point, David, like I know you've got to consider the Patriots a Super Bowl contender, but they're way over their skis this year. They're doing great things. I don't think of them as a Super Bowl contender. They might, not trying to knock the Patriots. I just don't.
However,
I don't think the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. They may think they are because they're, but by the way, if you're Tampa or Buffalo, who's trying to get a receiver, you are in competition with Pittsburgh for that receiver because it's out there. They're trying to get a wide receiver.
Right. Yeah, they're in also because they think their windows this year and maybe next. If Aaron Rodgers sticks to his guns, they got a half a season left with Aaron Rodgers. That's it. And Hayward's 36 years old and TJ Watt's 31. So, they got a lot of onus here. By the way, I'll say I agree with you completely about the Patriots. We said the Patriots were the likely this year's Commanders, and so far it's playing out.
They're beating all the teams they're supposed to. They're doing a hell of a job, and they got to win over Buffalo that we didn't expect.
Right. Now, what if they went out and got a wide receiver?
I mean,
what if they went out and paid the price now, not waiting to the offseason, not waiting to maybe move up in the first round of the draft and draft somebody? I'm talking about what if the Patriots decide, you know what? Look how wide open the AFC is.
Exactly. I mean,
if we got Waddle
right now, who do you think is the best team at this moment in time? Who's the best team in the AFC?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
No kidding. It's a loaded question. The Broncos are 7-2. Indianapolis is 7-2. Indy just got beat by Pittsburgh, turned it over 6,000 times in that game. Denver, another tremendous play by Nix in the 4th quarter. He didn't look good, didn't play good, had a great run. They got out of there with the win.
By the way, RJ Harvey's had a good game and made a impactful play yesterday. Don't you look at the Broncos, though, and if you take the wild fourth quarter against the Giants out of the equation, don't the Broncos need a weapon? Like, you're talking about the teams that need a receiver. I mean, come on. We've got a few Broncos fans in the chat rooms. Come on. Don't you need a weapon, a legit weapon?
The Chargers kind of turned it around, but Alt's gone. So they're not the same team they were just yesterday.
No.
Literally.
They're not. But, I mean, what are you willing to... So you drew the line at Achane. You basically have said, if you're the interim GM of the Dolphins, the whole roster's available except for Achane.
No, I think I'd keep, a couple of those tackles look like they can play. The guard they picked up, I'm not sure how many offensive linemen I'm giving away there. I was talking skill guys, if you will.
Okay. So, yeah, I understand the young offensive linemen, those that you believe in, you're keeping. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. I can't trade that. But on defense, guys are gone. Waddle, I'd trade. Yeah, I would.
Okay, so you trade Waddle, you trade Minka, you got no problem. This is look at the Commanders, by the way. NFC Championship game last year, 3-6, quarterbacks hurt, likely out for the year. Right. And they're the oldest team in the league. How, if you're the Commanders, are you not unloading everyone and everything you can? Because actually, you could use day 3 draft picks. You need young bodies by the dozen for next year.
And just hope you get a few right that you can plug and play somewhere.
Right. Which, by the way, they feel they did it at running back. That's why they let Eckler and they traded the one away, okay,
Robinson.
because they felt like they got that, they nailed a bunch of late round picks and undrafted free agents at the running back position.
So,
but Mark, you really hit it, Mark, when you said, man, the pressure, and Brad Holmes has gotten nothing, well-deserved, universal praise for 3 years now. But Philly's making life hard on you, man. A, they're getting the Super Bowls. B, they won one. And C, they're more active in season than you are.
And just think about it. In Detroit, what did they not do in July? They didn't do anything to help their baseball team. The fan base in that city is going to go nuts if they do nothing in the next 24 hours to help their football team. 2 GMs that just sat on their hands at deadlines with teams that had the potential to win the final game? Come on.
I hate to bring this up. You remember the 2014 NFC playoffs where every team that lost we felt like should have won? Detroit lost to Dallas, then Dallas lost to Green Bay, then Green Bay lost to Seattle, then Seattle loses to the Patriots at the goal line. I mean, it was like the strangest postseason. Mark, look at the American League playoffs this year. Tigers lose an agonizing series to the Mariners, who lose an agonizing series to the Blue Jays, who lose an agonizing World Series.
Yeah.
And you wonder if one trade, one acquisition. Right. At least Seattle went in. Seattle made moves and they paid off.
They paid off. I mean, they did.
Right. Right. Detroit didn't make any moves. Right. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, to the person in the text room, I've already answered it earlier, but if I'm the Lions, I'm adding to defense. I want an edge rusher first. If I can get Chubb, I'm taking him now. And if I can get help in the secondary, I'm taking that now, too.
By the way, Dolphins paid some of Jalen Phillips' financial cost also to get the 3rd round pick.
So, I mean, we just went through the AFC. At the NFC, I still think all roads go through Philadelphia. But come on, if you're the Rams, if you're Seattle, if you're Tampa Bay, if you're Detroit, if you're Green Bay, you think you can play in the final game?
By the way, if you're Green Bay, you need a defensive tackle. I mean, don't you have to get serious here? You still have a lot of money. You want to call up the Giants about Lawrence? No, I'm serious. I'm talking about an impact defensive tackle. All right. How about if you call up Tennessee about Simmons, who I know missed yesterday's game with an injury, but he's healthy enough to play here soon. I mean, seriously, come on now.
And you need a receiver. You do.
Yeah.
You need a receiver. These are positions you can go get right now. Trade deadline. What, 32 hours? Is that what we got?
Yeah, what, 31 and 47 minutes? Yeah. Listen, Miller and Moulton would treat it like the hockey GMs would. That's what we're saying. That's how active we would be.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Ryan. I don't think that the Bengals, because they don't make moves. I think you hit the nail on the head. They should, but they're not. By the way, are we sure that the AAC champ's going to get the pick?
You're talking James Madison?
I don't know. Possibly. Man, a lot of allergies in Troy's basement. You didn't have the headsets. A lot of allergies in Troy's basement there.
I'm not sitting at the desk. I moved over to the couch here, which has a table. So I'm using the blank.
No, Boise State got whooped on Saturday by Fresno. They've got 3 losses. They're out.
They're out. I think they were out before Saturday.
I think 10-2, they had a shot with what's going on in the AAC, but they're out. I know it's way too early to look at this, but Texas Tech is a 10.5-point favorite at home against BYU. 10.5.
No. I'm in the Ritz-Carlton in Irving, Las Colinas, a block away from Byron Nelson Way.
Are they though, Cavanbaugh? Are they? That's the question. Fam, I'm there with you. 10.5. That's a big damn number. I know there's a lot of music fans in there. I just want to say, we saw a band Friday night in St. Augustine. We just kind of heard music. I walk into another place. We heard music, went the other way. It's at this place called Pierre's Pub, outdoor, tiny little place, stage. Turns out, talk to the owner because he introduced the band. These guys just got together to play. They're not even in a band. Best cover band I've heard in forever. Tell me if you've ever seen a cover band do Going to California by Led Zeppelin before, because I never have, and I've been going to bars for damn near 40 years.
No. That was like the cover band that we saw on our honeymoon, and they did Triumph. And I went, oh my God, I've never seen this before.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Gary Ferman of Kane Sport. Whew, what the heck is going on with the Canes? Talk to him.
4-9 in November since 2022, Mario. 4-9.
Wow.
James Franklin snickering somewhere when he sees that. We did put a poll question up today. I literally just reposted it. I don't even think you are aware I put one up.
No, I did it. Daylight savings, right?
Yeah, well, we literally haven't talked about it on the show. We, in true Miller and Moulton fashion, we put a poll question up over an hour ago and never mentioned it on the show.
Sounds like us.
It does. Daylight savings time ended. Do you think we should go to daylight savings time year round? I think this is split in the Miller household because my wife was so excited it got dark early so she could go to bed and not feel badly about it. I think she was in bed by 8:30 and celebrating it. My daughter didn't even make 8 o'clock. And that's rare.
Wow.
I of course fell asleep on the couch before 8:30, maybe 8:40. That football game was on. I woke up and went, yeah, I don't need to watch anymore. I can go to bed.
I was going to say, were they in Jacksonville partying the weekend away at the cocktail party? What was up with
No,
them?
I was gone, so they were ripping it up at home. I will tell you also, David, I came home. All of the Halloween decorations were put away on Saturday, and the Thanksgiving decorations went up. We are the only household in America that celebrates Thanksgiving properly. The rest of you go right from Halloween to Christmas. And yes, I'm talking to your wife, David, because I know the damn tree's up already.
Not sure about the tree, but she did have a sleepover Saturday into Sunday with the soon-to-be 4-year-old granddaughter, and so there was definitely decorating going on. That I was made aware of that. Don't know about the tree, but around the condo there was definitely stuff that was put up. Can I just ask one quick question? What specifically is Thanksgiving decorations?
We have a couple of like my wife keeps all of the decorations in those plastic crates.
No, I get it. I know what Halloween decorations look like. I know what Christmas decorations look like. I'm just curious. Help me out. What are Thanksgiving?
Very
decor?
fall-esque, all very fall-esque. We have a couple of little things that say, be thankful, a couple of hanging. We have areas that we've got pictures that hang. They will come down for certain holiday pictures. We have they give thanks and things of that nature.
So
Be
leaves,
thankful. Yeah.
colorful leaves,
Yeah.
Cardboard or whatever.
We've got
Okay.
these plates that sit on the buffet table, and they're pumpkins, but they're not Halloween pumpkins. It's different. So
Anything with a turkey.
I believe that the shams that go over the pillows have a turkey on them.
Wow, Thanksgiving shams.
Yep.
Wow.
We take this blank seriously around the Miller house.
Man, I mean, don't get me wrong. Please don't make me sound like a skeptic. I'm impressed. Okay. In fact, I think you should take pictures and post them. Okay. You may have next year, you may have a magazine show up. Remember magazines, Mark? You may have a magazine show up and take pictures and put your house on the cover or get a feature article. Maybe it's just a local magazine. Okay. That will do it. Whatever. But
we don't have enough money to get in those magazines down here, David.
No, but we may start working for the owner soon. So just take some pictures, post them. It just, may not pay dividends in 2025. Think 2026.
I hear you.
What is that? That's a family that celebrates Thanksgiving?
Yep.
What?
We don't boycott Christmas, but Christmas does not come out until Thanksgiving's over.
Oh.
Thanksgiving, my second favorite holiday after the 4th of July.
Right.
4th of July is number one. And it's not because I'm this red, white, and blue gung-ho American, which I am. It's that you get the day off. You're really just supposed to eat and drink, and you're not required to be with family. That gives it the nod over Thanksgiving. Because I'll have the wife's cousins over on Thanksgiving, and I can't avoid it. And they're very nice people. They are. But they're both from Boston. And they sound like it and talk a lot. Like a lot. I host a talk show. They're better than me, and it ain't close. So you're obligated to have family around on Thanksgiving. You are not obligated to have family around on the 4th of July. That's the separation for me. The other thing that we didn't really get to today, David.
Okay.
We could have had a poll question on this. It's National Sandwich Day. Is there a Mount Rushmore of sandwiches? Like the Reuben, to me, qualifies as one of the ultimate sandwiches that there is.
PB&J.
Ooh.
Very simple, obviously, very simple. But would that be a Mount Rushmore sandwich?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of the OG of sandwiches.
I mean, that's what, to me, can you have a poll question about best sandwich and not include arguably the most historic sandwich?
It's a great point. The grilled cheese. Would it make it? Probably not, but it's damn good.
I mean, don't you think one of these has to make it? We're not going to exclude, both PB&J and grilled cheese, are we? I mean, by the way, does the cheesesteak count? Is a sub a sandwich?
It's a sub. It's a subset category of the sandwich. But I don't consider the cheesesteak's its own thing.
Well,
like
also,
a Chicago beef. Chicago beef, that's a sandwich kind of, but it's not.
Don't you think the breading determines what's a sandwich and what's not? The whole is the hot dog a sandwich? No, it's in a bun. A cheesesteak? No, it's in a
hoagie, right?
Right. Okay.
To
me, it's got to be inside of two pieces of bread. Isn't that a sandwich?
Yes. Like,
Right.
you could argue a patty melt is a sandwich, but a hamburger is not.
Correct.
BLT, Gary Player of sandwiches.
That's gotta
Highly
be on it.
underrated.
Doesn't a BLT have to be on a Mount Rushmore sandwich?
I don't know.
PB&J, BLT, and
Grilled cheese.
none of the three are going to make.
Oh, no. I say the PB&J makes it. I'm just, I'm not sure.
Once again, the BLT, the PB&J, not to be confused with Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. That's BST. Okay, BST doesn't belong in the poll question. PB&J, BLT likely belongs in the poll question.
Texter says we decorate for Thanksgiving too. I'm horrified that we just gloss over Thanksgiving.
Mark, it's why I think you should post your pictures. Apparently there's 3 or 4 others out there. That's your competition. You got to get ahead of them.
Someone going with the Monte Cristo for a sandwich. Thank you for bringing us back to the 70s or at least the 80s at Bennigan's. Someone very simply just says corned beef on rye, deli style. How do you argue with that?
Okay, you got to choose Reuben or corned beef on rye. I don't think you can go both.
I understand. This one just, someone giving their full nominations. PB&J, grilled cheese, Reuben, ham and cheese. Your ham and cheese, as far as your cold sandwich, is basically your basic, I can do this, it's going to be good.
Listen, I love a ham and cheese sandwich. It's arguably my favorite sandwich. I don't know if I can put it on the list. Isn't that the McDonald's? If you know what I mean? Isn't that kind of like, the old, we're not going on sales here. We're just going on, best.
Yeah, but that ham and cheese, that's over 1 billion served, no doubt. Canes talk next.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
So I went to my new best friend to ask the Mount Rushmore of sandwiches. Of course, that's ChatGPT, everybody. They went BLT, grilled cheese, Reuben, and then they said cheeseburger, but I don't buy that because it's not a sandwich, it's in a bun. And the honorable mentions are your PB&J, Club, and then a bunch others that I don't consider sandwiches. I think
isn't club too close to a BLT?
it's close.
Okay. I'm not nominating this, but someone texted to me. Does a tuna melt or a tuna fish sandwich belong? It doesn't for me.
I like a good tuna fish sandwich, but it wouldn't make the list. I like a chicken salad sandwich better. That wouldn't make my,
Yeah, but I don't think, and Johnny, I thought of bologna too, but bologna's like, McDonald's. It's fast food of sandwiches.
EB, you can post as much as you want about the damn hot dog being a sandwich. It ain't a sandwich, okay? We're not going to talk about it. You are literally, those posts to me are like Michael running back from the 2 different rooms to talk about the same thing. I just ignore the comments. Michael goes as far as he can with the Twitch chat room with Denver Broncos stuff and then switches to the YouTube chat room to type the exact same thing over and over. Oh, let's call him.
Super Joe, that's funny. 3-day, huh? Wow. Good for you.
Gary is on.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Still have a lot to talk about on this Overreaction Monday. We've already had a significant NFL trade with the trade deadline tomorrow afternoon. College coaches fired. Nobody's getting fired in Miami, but we are wondering what the heck's going on. Gary Ferman covers the Canes, has for 40 plus years. Canesport.com. Canesport.com. Follow him on X at Kane Sport. Gary, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. Very simply, Gary, what's going on? How did this start happening? What are they doing that they weren't doing until mid-October?
Well, honestly, Mark, if you're honest about it, they were doing it. It's just that at the beginning of the season, they were so well prepared. You start out with Notre Dame, and you've got the whole off season to prepare for that game, and they came in and just played a near perfect football game. I mean, they really did. They were really, really good that night, and they beat Notre Dame pretty good. And Notre Dame's back in the top 10 now, and that's a really good football team that obviously had finished last season right at the top of college football. So they, from the top to bottom of the organization, just did a phenomenal job, and they were justifiably being called early in the season the most complete team in college football. You had the game day experience, and it was just everything was fairy tales and roses. But if you look at it, they were blowing leads in all of those games in the second half, and why that was happening, I don't have an explanation for you, but they were not the same football team from the start of the game to the end of the game. And I can't tell you why, but the warning signals were there. And then, we get to Florida State, and you do a great job in the first half of Florida State, and you open up that big lead, but you get to the fourth quarter, and Florida State outgained them 177-15 and outscored them 19-0. And, when do you ever see anything like you can't make that up? And there's no explanation for it. So this has been a very fragile team really for several weeks. And the only thing that's changed is they've come out on the wrong result on the scoreboard against Louisville and SMU in very tight ball games. And the Louisville game, you're going against one of the best play callers in college football.
Yep.
And he and his staff did a great job that night. And they caught him and won that game. I think these open weeks, having two open weeks almost back to back, kind of slowed a little bit of the momentum of the team. And, when you have a result like that, when you're expecting, you're the number 2 team in the country, and you're expecting to be there at the end of the season, and now you lose, there are some psychological aspects of that you have to deal with. And I don't know, man, it's like you need to be a top shelf, high level psychologist to try to figure out what's happened here. But, same thing at SMU, very similar formula to Louisville. You have a guy who's a elite play caller, who's really, really good, and he knows how to dial up enough offense to win football games. And his whole thing was he knew that his team probably wasn't as good as Miami, but he always wanted to keep it to within one score going into the fourth quarter, because he felt that if he could get to that point in the fourth quarter where they're in the ball game, that he could come up with plays to allow them to have a chance to win. And man, they executed it perfectly. Miami never got out, more than one score. They got the break of the interception early in the second quarter. He had a play in his back pocket for the very next play to steal a touchdown in that situation where they got the good field position. It's just phenomenal coaching, man. Like, you got to salute Rhett Lashley. I mean, he really did a great job the other day, and found a way. They didn't win. They didn't lead in the ball game until the touchdown in overtime. And just sometimes the other guy does a really good job. And some of these guys are good coaches. Jeff Brom at Louisville, Rhett Lashley at SMU are very good coaches. They don't always have the same level of talent as the top 5 teams in the country, and they find other ways to win sometimes. But
Okay.
On the flip side for them, Mark, it's not going to happen every week. I mean, that same SMU team lost to Wake Forest the week before. And then you saw what happened to Wake Forest Saturday. They got blown out by Florida State.
No,
so
there's no doubt. It was an awful day on the whole for the ACC Saturday. The Georgia Tech loss, obviously the Miami loss. It was not a good day for the conference. But you mentioned Lashley and you mentioned Braum. Let's talk about Mario, because a lot of people are pointing fingers at the Miami head coach. How much of the loss on Saturday can you pin directly on the head coach?
I think that Mario just has to take a look at how he's attacking this whole thing and see if there's ways that he needs to evolve. This is a pattern now over multiple seasons, and he's doing so many great things at Miami. He came back here, and this doesn't matter more to anybody but him. I mean, he works at 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But maybe that's got to change too. I mean, I just think that when the same things keep happening year after year after year, it's not an accident. And there's probably some little things that he could tweak. If he sits down and does a complete evaluation of it, because they are losing a lot of games year after year after year to teams that at least the outside world perceives they are considerably better than. And they've had very good teams last year and this year, yet they've dropped now 5 of their last 12 football games. And I think when it comes to Mario, you focus on the good, the way he's built the infrastructure at Miami, the way he's rallied the university behind the program. Their foundation is unquestioned. Their player acquisition model went to another level this past year. This is a very good football team. It's not obviously great yet, but it's very, very good. They've gotten caught a couple times, which obviously has everybody up in arms and dismayed. But as it pertains to the head coach, I think you have to realize all the good things that he's done, and there's some things that are holding him back, and he has to figure that out. You have to really have a handle on the complete picture of everything that's going on in the program to be able to analyze that and try something different. And I think that's where he's at.
Did any of the players say anything that struck you? It could be any topic, but blaming themselves, questioning some of what they're doing. I'm just curious, did anybody after the game, because this is, they could afford the Louisville setback. Those guys had to know Saturday they may have just flushed their season for all the stuff that they were shooting for down the drain. Did anybody say anything that caught your attention?
No, because the truth of the whole thing is not necessarily something that anybody is going to say. You're not going to say, I became too tight. You're not going to say, I became too conservative. You're not going to say, I buckled a little bit to the weight of the situation. Like, nobody's going to verbalize that. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at just that game on Saturday and put it in a microscope, they came out very aggressive. Their receiver, JoJo Trader, who many started the year thinking was going to be their best receiver, was finally getting a chance to play. They were featuring him. He had almost 100 yards receiving in the first quarter. They were attacking down the football field and looked great in the first quarter. Then that interception happened, and everything changed on a dime. Okay, now all of a sudden you're not winning 7-0. Now you're in a 7-7 ball game. I felt they got tight, and they reverted back to station, more conservative type of offense that SMU was prepared for. If you're preparing for Miami, you got to take away the run up the middle. and you have to keep them out of explosive plays. You make them get station to station. You get them to third down. And then, they were 40% on third down the other day. I mean, you're not converting. If you're in third down all the time and you're not making big plays, you're not converting every third down, Mark. I mean, that's just not reality in football. And, they got into all those third downs in the middle of the game, and they weren't opening the lead. And SMU caught them at the end, which is what SMU was trying to do. That was their game plan. But from Miami's standpoint, they changed. Okay, they got tighter. They got much more conservative, and I think it caught them at the end of the game.
And obviously, the big penalty. But they took a lot of penalties. I mean, this is, I think, if you're a Canes fan, this is where I would be just scratching my head, because you're right. They came out blazing in the first quarter. They should have had a much bigger lead at half based on how the game was being played. And then they get tight, and the penalty, a dumb penalty happens that cost them on a fourth down. They ended up with quite a few self-inflicted wounds in that game, the Beck interception at the end. But the penalties, Mario, there was a point where he's pointing to his head saying, think out there. Well, these are recurring nightmares for the Canes when they get tight. And I don't know if that stems from the head coach. I don't know what it stems from, Gary, but the inopportune penalties are killing this team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get fined, so I can say it. I thought that was just a nonsense call by the referee. I mean, yes, he ran into the quarterback, but maybe the referee didn't blow his whistle loud enough either. I mean, there wasn't an intent there, in my opinion. I think it literally was a kid playing football and trying to get to the quarterback, and who clearly didn't hear the whistle, and it was a very critical point in the game. And because there wasn't intent there, I didn't think the referee had to call that a penalty. It was such a huge call, and maybe the game ends the way it does anyway. We don't know that, but I just think sometimes officials have to have just a little more sense than what they have. Everything's not always black and white. And yes, he hit the quarterback. It's undisputable, but he didn't hit him with the intent that the penalty seemed to call out. That's my opinion.
Gary, thanks for your time and your insight. We appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the month, and maybe we can catch up right around the Pitt game.
Anytime, Mark. Have a
Gary
good morning.
Ferman, Canesport, canesport.com. Follow Gary Ferman on X at Canesport.
That's kind of fun when they just answer my name. Usually it's just yours. That doesn't happen that way with me very often. Usually it's all David's during this thing. So that's
Brando is all me. Gary Ferman's all you. We can keep score.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. I asked some really good questions there.
You did. I had 4 good ones, I thought. Good job, Mark.
Thanks, David. We are Miller and Moulton. Text line open at 21,000. Talking Canes there. We've talked a lot of NFL. The trade deadline is tomorrow, and the Eagles, well, they're dealing. They've done 3 deals in a week. 2 corners, and now an edge rusher. Getting Phillips from Miami for a 3rd-round pick. To us, this should be the start of a lot of trades, because there's no clear-cut favorite for the Super Bowl right now. There are 10, 11, 12 teams that you can see playing in the last game.
All right, then play the game with me. I know we're pressed for time in this segment. I'll just rattle off the 14 teams who would be in the playoffs if the playoffs started today. Are they capable of getting to the Super Bowl, in your estimation? All right. Indy.
They've got to be. They're 7-2.
Patriots.
With another weapon.
Denver.
Yes.
Pittsburgh.
No.
Buffalo.
Yes.
Chargers.
No.
Jacksonville.
No.
That's only 3 teams then in the AFC. NFC. Philly.
The Chiefs are going to the playoffs, not Jacksonville, and they have a shot in playing in the last game.
Okay, then that would be 4. But right now they're out.
I
Philly.
got you. Yes.
Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Seattle.
Yes.
Green Bay.
Uh-huh.
Rams.
Uh-huh.
Niners,
Yeah. No.
Lions.
No. Yes.
Too many injuries for the Lions or the Niners, you're saying? So
Yeah, I think there's
so
just too many injuries.
So 6 teams in the NFC, and if you throw in the Chiefs, 4 in the AFC.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
They've cut the nets, they've raised the banners, and now they're headed to Fort Myers. Michigan State, North Carolina, and other top programs take the court in the Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off this Thanksgiving week. Legendary programs, championship traditions, college basketball's biggest names, live at Suncoast Arena. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, Michael, I will say it's very interesting because as a fan, you can go one of two ways because you're winning all these close games and you're doing dramatic things in the fourth quarter to win them. And it's a fine line between, wow, is this awesome? Does this show how terrific we can be? And, you know, this is what champions do. Or is it, you guys are pulling blank out of your butt, and once you start playing the good teams, this is going to stop. Although you did it once against a really good team in Philadelphia. So, because usually what ends up
they literally only have 4 games against good teams the rest of the way.
Right. Because usually what ends up happening is come the playoffs, a team like this ends up losing.
I agree with that.
Good, but
and how good are the Chargers when they play them?
Tell you what, Michael. Tell you what. Do you know what's right now looming as a really big call? That penalty in the Broncos-Colts game. You guys would be the 1 seed.
The 1 seed.
You guys would be the 1 seed.
I will say the one thing I do like about Bo Nix, because I'm still not sold on him, when he runs, he doesn't get hit. He doesn't take the hits like Daniels and Dart, and you know what I mean? He gets down, he gets out of bounds.
He's also fast. He can move.
Right, but Drake May too. They're not getting hit the way some of these other quarterbacks are getting hit. He's a smart runner as a quarterback. That's a hell of an attribute.
You mean as opposed to Jackson Dart, who's a tackling dummy? God. Got to pull him aside and go, listen, do you know the offensive line you're playing behind? You're going to get hit enough as it is. When you cross that line of scrimmage, the object is to not be touched.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. The Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Overreaction Monday in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We talked about today being National Sandwich Day. I don't think we ever posted a poll question.
No, I'm not, if you put up what we talk about, the Reuben would run away with it, and I'm not interested in that.
Okay. Fair enough.
I do think that the PB&J, the grilled cheese, they make that list.
Okay.
Right. The BLT
sandwiches.
They make that list.
Fair enough.
So
we did settle on a poll question, though, which is basically because on Saturday, as most of you know, or you forgot, you realized it sometime yesterday, the whole daylight savings time thing. And so we basically
said, yeah, we want to live in darkness for the rest of time.
Hey, there are those that want to get rid of the time zones too, or pick a time zone that we think is best and run with it.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But ending daylight or ending standard time to go to daylight savings time year round would be my vote.
So it's our poll question. Yay or nay, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton at home. Hey, very quickly, we've talked about this in the past, but we had a situation happen last night, and I'm guessing most everyone listening right now was not watching. It was not a competitive game early. I'm guessing, the weekend that came and went, most people were in bed and woke up to, Jaden Daniels got hurt. Should he have been in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It was 38-7, less than 5 minutes to go. And they had driven down. They were inside the 5. And we've talked about this before. This is because of a roster size, literally in every other sport. Like in hockey, you can not play your first line guys, save your first line defense. You could wear out your third and fourth lines, if you will, the final 8 or so minutes of a 6-1 game if you want. As a coach, you don't want any wear and tear on your big guns and what have you. Basketball, you got enough bodies. Baseball, you have enough bodies. Okay. But in football, you don't. You can't sub everybody out. You don't have enough linemen. First off, you don't have enough DBs usually for nickel and dime situations to do it either. Okay. But also the question becomes, should you, Mark, as a coaching staff in football, take the injury risk into the equation? If not, when taking him out of the game, like to me, I'm not blaming Dan Quinn for leaving Jaden Daniels in. Okay. I would, however, say to Cliff Kingsbury, you can't call an RPO, man. You're down 31 with 5 minutes to go. We can't run the risk of him getting hit.
That's the bigger issue to me. It's the play calling. You want him just throwing the ball or handing it off. One or the other. 3-step drops, quick outs,
right?
Handing the ball off. The game's over.
Now, a bit of a freakish injury, he fakes the handoff. He's running to the outside. A defender chases him down. You could argue, was there a penalty on the tackle? Was that the whole drop hip thing? Or, he grabbed him. But anyway, he kind of throws him down awkwardly. Daniels puts his arm down, though, to break the fall, and his left elbow just snaps. He dislocates his left non-throwing elbow. A gruesome-looking injury. He'll recover. Don't know if we'll see him again this year. Don't know if we should see him again this year, even if he's healthy enough to play. But I was just wondering if anybody was watching it, or you then see the play and look at the score and the time, and you're going, like a buddy of mine who's a Commanders fan. His first text is, he goes, to him, that was head coach malpractice. He shouldn't be in the game. But Mark,
the problem is with that philosophy. You're telling your starting tackle he should be in the game, but the quarterback shouldn't. This isn't college. As you just mentioned, you don't have 80 guys on the bench.
You don't have 10 offensive linemen dressed. At most teams dress 8. A lot dress 7. You'd be surprised. Actives and inactives, how few offensive linemen sometimes are actually on the roster for the game. So you're right. You can't sub everybody out on the lines. You could on the defensive line if no one's gotten hurt during the game. Most teams have at least 8 defensive linemen that are dressed. But I get your point. Or should you, because of the risk of injury? Or, Mark, do you just have to say, you know what? Injuries happen.
I'm more leaning towards that. And I get if someone disagrees with what I'm saying, but I think he's still a quarterback that needs snaps, by the way. I don't think there's enough there to say I can just pull him out. He's fine.
You and I don't know if we believe in this. I don't know if we've really talked about it, but a lot of teams, like in hockey, Mark, if a team's losing 5-6-0, they want to break the shutout. They want to put one on the board, something positive so that we leave the ice and, the feeling isn't as awful as it was. Teams like to take something positive to the next practice, to the next game. And you could see where Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, who are getting blown out here, wanted to, okay, let's punch one in the final 5 minutes, and then, we can, all right, each team will run out the clock, and thank you very much.
So I understand if you're against our feelings on this. I get the reasons why. I just think in the end, it's not a common thing in the NFL unless the quarterback's been just awful. And he certainly wasn't good. So I would have left him in. And I would be having to field those questions today the way Dan Quinn will have to field them, or tomorrow when he talks to the media.
I forget how many years ago it was now. I think it's close to 10, maybe even more. when the Patriots were kind of followed for that full season and Belichick was figuring out final game of the year. For the Patriots, it was meaningless. They'd won the division. Their seeding was clinched, but he's got to play some guys. And they're like, well, Brady's not going to play. Moss isn't going to play, this, that, and the other thing. And literally one of the assistants said to him, what about Welker? And Belichick was like, I'll think about it. Well, they ended up playing Welker. And on a non-contact play, he blows out his knee.
I don't know what you do. It was the Bills player that blew his Achilles out last night.
Right.
That was non-contact.
Hell, how about we saw it, 2 Super Bowls ago? The 49ers linebacker running onto the field blows out his Achilles.
Might have been the difference in the game.
Yes.
I mean, you could literally point to that and say, that's the difference.
Yes, if Dre Greenlaw had been able to play that game, there's a very good chance the Niners beat the Eagles that day. Or the Chiefs, I'm sorry. Niners beat the Chiefs that day. But I don't know. We didn't bring it up at all during the game. And, some people have been out of shape and what have you. It wasn't going to change the outcome. It'll change the trajectory of the season a little bit. I will say it's a bummer now. You and I are all in on Daniels.
Yes.
We cannonballed in the deep end before the draft on Daniels. But let's just assume he's done. Wow. What a year 2. Holy blank, what a year 2.
And as we've pointed out, this is an old team. This is a roster that is going to need to be turned over quickly.
And I think
McLaurin hasn't stayed healthy all year. They need weapons on that team. I mean,
you got 30 plus hours here, I think, if you're the Commanders. You got to, you went into last night's game thinking playoffs still. And I think you got 30 hours now. You got to pivot. Don't you think Houston, Washington, who else lost this week? In which Cincinnati for sure. If the week before didn't do it officially, this week with Pittsburgh and Baltimore winning and you losing.
Atlanta. By the way, how about that? They lost another game because they couldn't kick an extra point.
Unbelievable.
I mean, they've already fired a kicker, and now they lose a game because they can't make an extra point.
Bad look for Raheem Morris after the game, too. Raheem Morris basically accused the Patriots of cheating, quote, simulating the snap count by clapping and what have you, and it caused when the Falcons were driving there with under 2 minutes or right around 2 minutes to go, they got to midfield and the Falcons had a procedure penalty, but Penix ended up grounding the ball. So it cost them down in distance. And they ended up punting and they never got the ball back. And Raheem Morris after the game said that, well, the Patriots were doing that all day. We brought it up to the officials and, they never do anything about it.
It's a complaint that's valid in the state of Georgia, David.
Well, the problem
Maybe for called timeout.
The problem for Raheem, though, of course, is nowadays, what do you have? You've got video and audio that are rampant, and people literally have broken down all 11 members on defense, and they've listened to the audio, and there's not on that play. There's nothing there.
By the way, we've not talked a lot about the Jags today, but a win's a win.
Totally.
A win's a win. I loved Pete Carroll going for 2. I did.
Sure.
I will say why Brock Bowers wasn't your first target's beyond me.
I'm totally with you.
He shredded them all day, and they're going to the back of the end zone to a receiver when Bowers was coming off the line. That's just that. But I don't know. I don't think the Jags would have been sellers had they lost the game. But they right now are the papier-mâché team that's in the playoffs right now.
Fair enough. I will say, to me, they need a pass rush off the edge. They got to – their defense is not good enough. When you let Geno Smith and the Raiders score the last 4 times they have the ball, field goal, touchdown, 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 your defense isn't good enough. And I don't know if you can make it a playoff-worthy defense because, Mark, they're competing with the Chiefs. They're a half a game ahead of them, and they own the tiebreaker. But they're also competing with the Chargers, who are decimated by injuries and still have a bunch of games left against the Broncos and Chiefs, both on the road. If you're the Jags, are you
the
thinking,
Jags,
right?
and one with the Jags, that
Right.
could very well determine the final playoff spot.
And I'm wondering if you're the Jags GM right now, are you thinking, hey, couple of deals and I can solidify a playoff defense?
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
It's the event everyone will be talking about when college basketball's biggest names take the court in Fort Myers. The Michigan State Spartans and the North Carolina Tar Heels headline the 2025 Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off. Witness the excitement live and in person this Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena. The stage is set. Will you be there? Lock in your spot now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go. See you Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
How about the interception that wasn't Adam? Wasn't the worst throw of the weekend Jordan Love in the end zone against Carolina? Oh my God. I don't think I've ever seen that. Trevor's got 2 end zone picks this year that are just. I know he was sick, and I know his receivers drop everything, but Trevor Lawrence is like that closer that gets the job done a lot of the time so that you can't replace him, but he makes you drink. You know, like Don Stackhouse was a closer for the Orioles in the late 70s, early 80s, and Earl Weaver nicknamed him Tupac, not to be confused with Tupac. And when asked why his nickname was Tupac, Earl Weaver said, because when I put him in the game, I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes. And I feel Trevor is like 6-pack. Well, Adam, I don't know if the car crash is coming, but you're definitely going to get a flat tire along the route. There's no doubt about it. Somebody asked Mark the worst interception of the weekend. Was it Trevor Lawrence at the goal line or Carson Beck? And I said, how about the one that wasn't in the Green Bay Carolina game? How about that Jordan Love throw into the end zone? Oh my God.
I'll vote Beck.
That's pretty bad.
There's nothing on it.
So I've landed in Dallas. I got my luggage. I'm on the bus 4 minutes to the rental car center. And there's 4 Canes fans on the bus, well, dressed in their Cane stuff. And they're not speaking. And you know me, I can't let this opportunity go by. I just said, you guys doing okay after yesterday? And they literally all looked at me and none of them said a word. And so I waited about 5 seconds and I said, well, good to see you're doing all right.
It was a great time, Javier. It was, except for the real jerk of a Gator fan that sat next to me. Everybody else was great. Guy next to me was a first-class a-hole.
Got thrown out, right?
Oh, yeah, he threw dip spit at me.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two. Cardinals and Cowboys, Monday Night Football. Cowboys with a win are 4-4-1. Game and a half behind Detroit's technically the 7, Mark. They're what, 5-3?
Yep.
So you got to have no more than 3 losses right now to be in the playoffs. The Bears at 5-3 are out right now. They're the 8. Just like the Chiefs at 5-4. They're the only team with a winning record in the AFC that would miss the playoffs right now. You got the Bears, you got Carolina, both above 500. You got the Vikings who are 500. You got Dallas who with a win tonight would be 500. So that would make 11 teams 500 or better in the NFC if the Cowboys can win tonight.
By the way, the Lions better make moves. They still go to Philly. They play Green Bay at home. They play Dallas, who still thinks they're in it. They're at the Rams. They host the Steelers. And then they finish the year at Minnesota, at Chicago. I mean, there are no guarantees that this team even makes the playoffs. They need to make a move.
There you go. By the way, and we've said this for a very long time, and we've summed it up with a simple expression. When the schedule maker gives you a win, you got to go grab it. How about how much more difficult the Packers made life for themselves going forward? They take care of business. They're 6-1-1. They've got a 2-game lead in the loss column minimum against both the Lions and the Bears. They got to host the Eagles on Monday Night Football a week from tonight. They got to play the Vikings, the Lions, the Bears, the Broncos on the road, the Bears, the Ravens, the Vikings. I mean, they got one game. They're at the Giants in a couple weeks. But otherwise, the Detroit schedule, Green Bay schedule looks a lot like it. And they lost at home to Carolina. They lost at Cleveland this year. I mean, Mark, you could argue they should be what 7-0-1?
And how big was that comeback win for the Bears? I mean, that's another one. You picked that as one of your games. Basically, come on, they're not losing to Cincinnati. And here they are up 14, give away a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, an onside kick, and go down and get that unbelievable catch and win the game.
Well, and also think of it the other way, not just in the standings. I mean, if they lose, they're 4-4, and you're probably going, okay, they're better than they were a year ago, and Ben's building something, but they're not a playoff team. 5-3, you're in it.
You're in it.
And meanwhile, Atlanta
throw a pick. You may have found a running back. I mean, I know it was Cincinnati's defense, but there are plenty of positives to take out from that game.
Could this be the reverse of last year when they lost on the Hail Mary? Could this be a springboard type of win for the Bears? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, those division games down the stretch are going to be so intense. Kind of like when the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs play all their games too.
Absolutely.
Like the Chargers.
The Chargers have seemingly had 3 seasons already, David.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been wild. Looked really good. Looked pretty bad. Looked pretty good. Lost your offensive lineman for how long? We don't know. But they're talking about surgery for Alt after another high ankle sprain.
They're hopeful that he'll come back this year, but they're thinking they'll have to do that surgery. Now, I will say a lot of players at Alabama, when they get the high ankle sprain under Nick, they were in favor of this surgery. They said it sped up their recovery time. And a lot of the guys who got the high ankle sprain were skilled players. Obviously, with a lineman, you don't have to do as much, but you have to bear a lot more weight. But it will be interesting. I mean, when in December can they get Alt back? When are the games? And also the Chargers have to go on the road to play the Broncos and the Chiefs. They've already remember, the Chiefs win in Brazil there was a home Chargers game, and they beat Denver at home. So when they play the Broncos and Chiefs again the rest of this year, they got to do it on the road. And Mark, you may have highlighted the game. Remember a couple years ago, we thought when the Dolphins and the Chargers played that the winner was going to make the playoffs and the loser wasn't, and that's what happened. Dolphins made it, Chargers didn't that year. Is the Chargers-Jags game a playoff game?
2 weeks in Jacksonville.
Tell me the winner of the game, and then do you put $20 behind that team as a wild card team?
Unless somehow, some way, Baltimore and Pittsburgh both end up being playoff teams. Can Baltimore rattle off a bunch here? That's, to me, that would be the unknown, David. But they're 3-5.
But we think they've got, and we did say for both the Patriots and the Broncos, when the same weekend, when New England upset Buffalo and Denver got that come from behind win in Philly, we said, look out, folks. Here are their next 5 games. Boom, 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 boom. And sure enough, what have both teams done? Boom, 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 boom.
By the way, next 7 for the Baltimore Ravens.
Here they come.
I would argue their toughest game is this week at the Vikings. Then they're at the Browns, home for the Jets, home for the Bengals, home for the Steelers, at the Bengals, home for the Patriots. Oh, that Patriot game could be big. So there are wins on the schedule for Baltimore.
If they beat Minnesota, You and I think they're going to rattle off a 6-game winning streak and go from 1-5 to 7-5, and then let the meetings with the Steelers begin.
And they typically split these two teams. Even bad Steeler teams that were barely playoff teams could figure out a way to get Baltimore once.
If the playoffs started today, the Colts and the Eagles would get the byes. I know there was talk that the Colts loss cost them the top spot. I don't believe it did because they have the best conference record in the AFC between them, the Patriots, and the Broncos. Plus, they beat Denver head-to-head. But Colts would have the bye. Patriots would host the Jags. Broncos would host the Chargers. Steelers would host the Bills. Chiefs are out this morning. They're 5-4. Jags are 5-3. Jags beat them. NFC, Philly with the bye. Tampa Bay hosts Detroit. Seattle hosts the Niners. Seattle can't beat the Niners. Green Bay would host the Rams.
So that's your snapshot if the playoffs were to begin today. You know, do the Bears, Vikings, or dare I say Carolina Panthers have a shot at upsetting the apple cart in the NFC? And obviously we all think the Chiefs have a shot in the AFC. The Ravens of the teams with 3 wins are the only ones that I can see making a run at the playoffs. I just don't see Houston, Cincinnati making the playoffs.
Or Atlanta. We're pretty much out now on those teams.
So the deadline, what is it? Is it 4 o'clock tomorrow?
I thought it was 4 o'clock tomorrow. So we're talking 30 hours and 30 minutes. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today's the day when. All coming up.
Besides the sales experience at the Diamond District, we offer a litany of other services. Appraisals.
We have 2 GIA certified gemologists, full-time, servicing your needs with appraisals.
We buy gold, diamonds, gemstones, Rolex watches. Repairs.
We have 3 full-time master bench jewelers.
A beautiful custom design department so that we can give you one-of-a-kind jewelry. Come see Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it
Mark
real.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
And Javier, you don't have to be sorry about another fan from your team, but I knew it was coming. We made a mistake and we sat one row in front of where our seats were. It was just kind of confusing the way it was. And the people came, 4 or 5 minutes into the game, and we had to move back a row. And I apologized to everybody, my bad. And our seats ended up being better than they were because we were on 2 away from the aisle. We were like 4 away from the aisle. And the guy next to me, first words out of his mouth that I sit next to, "You got a problem?" is what he says to me. And I went, oh, okay. Said, sorry, we sat in the wrong seats. We missed it by a row. I know, we're morons. I said, my fault. Totally apologize. And he kept kind of, making sure he had all the elbow space. I don't care. I'm just going to ignore the guy. Everybody around us is great. And about 4 or 5 minutes go by, and he's still just being a jerk. And I said, you know what? How about we start over? How you doing? My name's Mark. And I stuck my hand out. And he looked at me and he turned away. And I started laughing. I'm like, all right, this guy's just a jerk. I ignore him the whole game. But I just decide about mid-third, late third, I'm going to talk to him even though he doesn't want to talk to me. I'm like, wow, who do you want to replace Napier? And I don't swear. I mean, come on, I do 4 hours on the radio. I didn't curse the entire game. There are kids around. I'm not that guy at a game. My son is not that guy at a game. Not one curse word came out of our mouth the entire time. And he blows up at me. Why are you talking to me? And he just starts going nuts. So much so that the cops came over and wanted to talk to him. And he gets up and he had dip spit and he heaved it at me, hits the guy behind me, who was also a Georgia fan and had his outfit on and was not happy about it. And the cops actually asked me, do you want to press charges? And I looked at him, I says, nah, not going to ruin the guy's week.
Seemed like he had a lot to drink, or
no, he didn't drink the whole game. He was just a mean human being. His wife apologized to me.
See, this is where you're the better person than me, because I would look right at her and go, really? That was the best you could do? Okay. Don't you think it's past time to stay together for the kids? Okay. You got to get out. You need a 1-800 number? Do you need somebody to call? That's where my wife would be like hitting me in the back.
But I got tickets from someone else. I was, at the end of the day, I know. I'm just trying to, but once he decided he was, and it's what a great game. Hey, who do you want to get for Napier? And I am seeing how much fun I can have.
Why are you talking to me?
Because you're sitting next to me. I like to talk. Put some headsets on, buddy. We're not on a plane.
Game, right? Yep. I do a talk show for a living. Josh from Gainesville. Hello.
I thought you'd appreciate that when you two were going. I didn't see the text driving up, but I finally answer when I'm going through a Popka going, I wonder if Edgar or Palatka.
Yes. Edgar from Palatka. I think the same thing every time I see the sign. God bless you, Coach. God. He was right. Very quickly, I don't know how much time we have. Edgar calls into the Bobby Bowden show. They've just lost 2 out of their first 3 to start the year. Everybody's all over Bobby. He sucks. Team sucks. Edgar does a 40-second spiel about how great Bowden is. This team's going to go to BYU. They're going to play great. They're going to win big. Okay. Coach, thanks for all you've done. God bless you, Coach. Go Noles. All right. Sure enough, they go to BYU. They beat them by like 4 touchdowns. And from that moment on, Edgar got through the rest of the year. Every week, Edgar from Palatka got through on the Bowden Coaches Show. It was phenomenal.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. Top of the hour. Bye-bye. So long, farewell. Miller Moulton, MillerMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. I have a feeling we're going to have a lot to talk about. It'll be crazy tomorrow. By NFL trade deadline standards.
All right, let me put the over. Are we counting the Phillips trade as one? I think we have to. No?
No,
All
I
right,
won't.
between now and the deadline, if I put the over at 5.5, where would you go?
Over.
If I put it at 7.5, where would you go?
Over.
I think a lot of the results this weekend lend themselves to your way of thinking.
Now, I'm not saying all 5 and all 7 are going to be Jalen Phillips to the Eagles for a third-round pick caliber of player and deal. But, we went through it. Quick math. We have 11 teams that we think are sellers. 11. Midway through the season. 11.
And there's not a clear-cut favorite to win the Super Bowl. Hell, I would argue there's barely a clear-cut favorite to get to a championship game right now. I mean, if I were to bet on one team playing in either championship game right now, I'd put my $20 on the Eagles.
Absolutely. Totally with you. However, we went through the 14 teams who are currently in the playoffs. All right. We went through the AFC in particular. The Chiefs aren't in the playoffs today. The Ravens aren't in the playoffs today. So think about that. Because they both think they're still very much in it, not just for the playoffs. Mark, let me ask you this. How many teams would you bet on in the AFC before you'd bet on the Chiefs? Today.
No, I know
Today.
the question you're asking. And
They're
I know
5 and 4.
I know Buffalo just beat them last night or yesterday afternoon. Put it this way. If I say that I'd put my $20 on the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, I'd put my $20 on the Chiefs for the AFC Championship game. And I'll give you Denver, I'll give you Indy, I'll give you all of them.
Don't you think other general managers feel the same way?
They should.
That A, we have room to get better, and B, this is wide open. Wide open.
We can play in the last game, but we need this. Tampa Bay. Get yourself a receiver. Get yourself an edge rusher. Get yourself a linebacker. There are players out there that you can have. Get them.
It's funny. We think there are haves and have-nots in the AFC. We went through it before. Like, are you buying the Colts and Patriots to get to the Super Bowl? Not just to make the playoffs, not just even win their divisions. Hell, right now they're the 1 and 2 seeds. But do you think they can win 2 or 3 games in January to get to February? Or do you just think, no, they're having a really nice season.
Benefits of a good schedule, taking
right,
it.
Blah, blah, blah.
The wins are exactly.
Right. Meanwhile, in the NFC, though, of the 7 teams who are in it right now, I think most of us think all of them can make the Super Bowl. Philly, Tampa, Seattle, Green Bay, the Rams, the Niners, the Lions. I mean, Mark, you only took one of those and said they can't go, and it's only because of injuries, and that's the Niners.
Yep. I don't trust the Niners. They just keep getting injured. But to your point, if the playoffs started today and they play Seattle, they could knock Seattle out first round.
Well, they own the Seahawks. They went to Seattle and won earlier in the year.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was a day when, brought to you by the Fort Myers Tip-Off. College basketball season is here, ready or not. And one of the premier tournaments in the country comes to Southwest Florida Thanksgiving week. Michigan State, North Carolina, headlining the tournament. But there's basketball every day on the men's side, Monday through Thursday. The women start on Friday. Unbelievable collection of teams. Go to FortMyersTipoff.com, FortMyersTipoff.com. We start in 1934. Lou Gehrig wins the Triple Crown. But it was Tiger catcher manager Mickey Cochran who was named AL MVP. Say in 34 that was. In 42, Ted Williams wins the Triple Crown. But Joe Gordon is the AL MVP.
Okay. So that happens. The year before, he hit 406, and DiMaggio with the 56-game hitting streak, he wins the MVP. Think about those 2 years back to back. 406, Triple Crown, doesn't win MVP in either.
Today in 48, it happened long before David Moulton said Charles Schwartzel will not win the Masters. It was today in 48 when the Chicago Tribune had a front page headline that said Dewey defeats Truman.
Thomas Dewey was never president.
No, he was not. Today in 56, The Wizard of Oz is televised for the first time. It was hosted by Burt Lahr and Judy Garland's 10-year-old daughter, Liza Minnelli. Sandy Koufax won the Cy Young today in 65. A unanimous vote, and he won it was the unanimous vote, and for the third time he won it. He was 26-8, had a 1.73 earned run average, and struck out 382 batters. Lou Piniella named manager of the Reds, replacing Pete Rose today in 89. The first time a rapper topped the charts was today in 1990. Yeah, not really one you'd want it to be topping the charts. It was Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby. Today in 92, Whitney Houston released Dolly Parton's song, her cover of I Will Always Love You. It would win Billboard Song of the Year. Also today in 92, Rage Against the Machine released their debut album, Rage Against the Machine. Maddox becomes the first pitcher since Koufax to win the Cy Young in successive years, first to do it with different teams when he won with the Braves today in 93. The first PlayStation was released today in 94. That same day, Glenn Robinson was worth more than the Milwaukee Bucks. He signed the most lucrative rookie contract in NBA history at the time, a 10-year, $68 million deal. Kobe becomes the youngest player to make his NBA debut today in 96 at the age of 18 years, 2 months, and 11 days. They would beat the T-Wolves. Arkansas beats Mississippi today in 01. 7 overtimes, the longest game in NCAA history. The final score, 58-56. Today in 07, Navy breaks the string, beating Notre Dame in triple overtime. 43-game winning streak. The last win before that for Navy over Notre Dame was in 1963.
When Roger Staubach was the quarterback.
And today, the Cubbies get it done in 2016. The 8-7 game, delayed by rain. The Trib got it right this time. Let It Rain was their headline.
The best 15-minute rain delay in Chicago sports history.
Bronco Nagurski, Bob Feller, and for your mom, Charles Bronson would have all celebrated birthdays today. Michael Dukakis is 92. Larry Holmes is 76. Dwight Evans, 74. Roseanne Barr, 73. Dennis Miller, 72. Phil Simms is 70. Lamar Woodley, 41. Colin Kaepernick is 38. And Kendall Jenner is 30 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Every time Larry Holmes' name comes up, I covered his first retirement press conference. And it was at his hotel in Easton, Pennsylvania. And it was him and his band. And none of us thought Larry Holmes had a band. It was him and his band. And before he took questions, he just wanted to sing a song about how he feels on his way out of the boxing business. And the song was titled Politics Stinks. And we all just sat around and looked at one another and said, well, this was awful, and we're just going to pretend this never happened. And no one reported about it. A few things quickly. Mark, did you know the Crystals earn a #1 hit with He's a Rebel in 1962? An all-female group. They didn't sing the song.
Right. I did see that.
Phil Spector was the producer. There was pressure to get the album recorded in time. He had the all-female group, The Blossoms, record the song and put the song on the Crystals album, and it becomes a #1 hit. They didn't sing a note. Unbelievable. Two other things I wanted to mention. Jesse the Body Ventura elected governor of Minnesota today.
I
was
that
there.
one for you on purpose.
It was amazing. Amazing. I did the sports in Fargo. I told Jesse the Body Ventura jokes and had wrestling highlights of Jesse the Body Ventura for the next month during the sportscast. I had people yelling at me. I thought, come on, this is hysterical. And I had one more thing. Today in 2014, One World Trade Center opened in New York. If you ever get a chance, go. You don't have to go in the the Freedom Tower, they call it, but they have the two footprints that they call it of what were the towers. You need to go. You need to make an appointment. There's a waiting list. Make an appointment. Go. You'll cry. It'll be worth it.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I want this guy's luck. Guy from Ohio forgot his winning $50 scratcher when he was going to cash it in. He said, I'll buy another of the same scratch-off game. This time he won $500,000.
Wow.
Right. We go to Washington State for the bad, where a man who was seen prowling around a neighborhood was caught on a Ring video stealing shoes from a resident's doorstep. The man, around 12:30, was seen speeding out of the neighborhood. 48-year-old was believed to be the same person saw on the Ring camera. No word on the shoes. Finally, the ugly. We come back to Florida, Tampa area, where Lori Green started receiving mail at her home over the summer addressed to Level Garage Door LLC, a company she'd never heard of. She thought it was a mistake, but when more mail arrived, she went online and did a little research. Found out they were using her address for the business. Not only were they using her address, but they gave directions to her home with a picture of her home on the website. She hung up on her. The company hung up on her when she called to ask why they were using her address. She reported the fraud to the Florida Department of State and had to prove that she owned the home. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Monday, November the 3rd. And it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. You know they're hiring new officers. Great pay, great benefits, opportunity overtimes aplenty. For more information, they go to
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
Monday Night Football tonight. It's why David is in the Big D. Arizona and Dallas.
Do you find it interesting that Kyler Murray's not even worth a half a point? When it was announced Saturday that Kyler Murray was not going to play, he's available tonight, but Jacoby Brissett's going to start. The line was 3.5. With the thought that Kyler Murray was going to play, they announced he's not going to start. The line doesn't move. I found that interesting. I thought he was worth at least a half a point. That could be a sign right there if you're running the Cardinals. Okay? Just throwing that out there.
Who do you want as your backup, Tua or Kyler Murray?
Oh,
they're
wow.
both going to be available.
And they're both not going to be happy about it either. We both like the Cowboys tonight.
Yes.
at home. A ton of college hoops. The Gators at 7 o'clock tonight on TNT begin defense of their title against Arizona in Vegas. Enjoy.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power Four teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
When you're craving the real taste of Chicago, there's only one name to know. Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. Two convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.